Welcome back, everyone, to a behemoth of an episode, ReelTok, episode 89, an episode exclusively dedicated to the discussion of X-Men 97. We have a whole slew of characters on today's episode. Of course, always by my side, mon ami, Mr. Cam Walsh, 27. And then we got, applause, worthy applause. And then four gorgeous guests, four gorgeous gentlemen. First off, Mr. SammyJReacts. Next.
George, I'm going to let you finish. But I just need to say, before we get this podcast going, I need everyone in here to give me their best. And you will follow me because I am the unk here. I am the tribal chief in here. I have seniority in here. There we go.
I'll acknowledge you for that.
To me, my sexmen, X-Men.
Yeah, Matt, bro.
All right. Continuing along, we got Mr. Dark of the Moon, Mr. Delusional, Mr. Alex Coleman.
Everybody get their ones up.
Acknowledge him.
Acknowledge him.
Parents' bedroom. I'm in my
Oh
parents'
my
bedroom.
God.
It's fine.
We also have one half of the escape pod, Mr. Alex, aka the Hat Guy, eating his salad.
Woo!
And then, of course, Mr. Let's Go himself, Mr. Zack Snyder's Justice League defender, Mr. Matt. You know him as Supes.
What's up, y'all?
Gentlemen,
You got to introduce him right. George. That's Matt. Oh! Ramos.
You're gonna get so many noise complaints. It's actually crazy.
oh my God, yeah. If
I
you
blocked
were
my
just,
door. They can do nothing about it.
I have never once in my
if that
life
just blew out the
seen
speaker
someone
in your
outside
cars, we apologize. But-
during a pod. I loved it.
all
I
right,
loved it.
let's
The
get into
outdoor
it. We got a
pod is
lot to talk
crazy.
about. Like I said,
love
we
it.
are here exclusively for the discussion of X-Men 97. We all love it. Everyone listening, everyone watching loves it. We thought it'd be absolutely worth it to do an episode, gather everyone who watched this show, everyone that we love, everyone that we talk to every day, and just have a full-blown discussion. Like I texted you guys, no official rundown. We'll go very quickly through our spoiler-free thoughts. Everyone listening, I'm assuming, knows our opinions. We've been tweeting about it nonstop for the last fucking months. And then we'll get into episode by episode deep dive, little breakdown. We'll go over the biggest moments, the cliffhangers. We'll talk about characters, and then we'll end off, obviously, going to turn this into a little fun debate, and we'll put X-Men 97 up against some of our other favorite television shows, and we will discuss. Let's kick it off. Sammy, spoiler-free thoughts. Let's go.
All right. Spoiler-free thoughts. You know, this is just a bunch of woke garbage. I just can't believe they really went with this. Okay, I'm obviously kidding, but as the unk here, as the one with seniority, I actually watched this show growing up in like 1999. I have a vivid memory of when I was 4 years old. My eldest sister showed me the show for the first time. And I remember being like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I went back and rewatched it when I was like maybe like 14, 13. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is not as good as I remember it. To quote Gambit, remember it. It was not as good as I remember it. So going into this, I was like a little skeptical. I was like, all right, I mean, the old animated show is like, it's all nostalgia based. I really mess with it heavy. And then once I finally watched the series, I was like, okay, my mind was blown at like the fact that they were able to take a really cheesy, corny animated show that I love from my childhood, but elevate it and make it into like something so damn compelling with some of the best writing I've seen on an animated show probably since Invincible. I mean, I don't know if probably Invincible. And just like hit every single note I wanted it to hit, it would be X-Men 97. Like it's just incredible, from the animation to giving every character justice. Shout out my boy Cyclops, actually got some damn justice. I really can't sing the praises of the show enough. Like,
Yo, Alex,
these guys are gonna give everything else. What is he doing?
He's doing tricks on it right now.
He's doing tricks on it, huh? I love it. I love when he does tricks on it. Hey, yo, pause, resume. Anyway, So yeah, I mean, what can I say about X-Men 97 that hasn't been said before? I just think it's incredible. I honestly don't have any complaints about the show itself. Like, if anything, I got minor nitpicks. But other than that, as someone who was like a big X-Men guy growing up, like, that's one thing that I really want to shout out is like, I love that the X-Men are finally being re-recognized. Like every single time I made a video in the comments, I always had the unks coming in the comments like, oh dude, I love the X-Men. Like, I'm so glad they're getting their due. They were the team. Like, to me, it's X-Men and the Justice League, the Avengers. I can't even. It's so weird to me that the Avengers are actually
Cornballs.
cool. Like,
The cornballs
the
over there,
cornballs, bro. They're on their hands and
Like,
knees for the
America
Stars and
boys.
Stripes,
Get
bro.
them out of here,
Fantastic
bro.
Four
Get
slam.
them out of here.
Fantastic Four is also
Four
really
as
good.
well. Yes.
Also really, really
Fantastic
good.
Four, yeah.
Definitely top 5 for me. Yeah, man, just putting that highlight on the X-Men and just blowing it out of the water, man. Honestly, 10 out of 10 show for me. But I'm sure these lovely gentlemen have a lot more to say, and I'm going to stop yapping because I'm a professional yapper.
Supes, we'll swing it over to you. Thoughts, spoiler free, on the entire show.
I mean, absolutely incredible. I mean, I feel like that's just the sentiment we're all going to kind of echo, but to kind of just put it in terms of like the skill of how I rank it amongst all of the other MCU projects, I kind of like narrowed it down. Like, I do think it's my number 4, like number 4 ranked Marvel Studios produced project ever. Ahead of it is just like Infinity War, Endgame, No Way Home, and then I have X-Men 97.
So wait. Marvel Studios?
Yeah, like after, because when I say like top 10, or when I say it's like my number 4 highest ranked MCU project, people are like, "Oh, but it's not the same universe." So
Well,
I'm just
actually,
saying,
no. I like that. I like that. I just
actually
wanted to
Marvel
ask
Studios
because
produced.
I was wondering if we were going like into the Spider-Verse,
Nah.
Daredevils. Like, I was
It's
just
actually
seeing if
Sony
we were
specifically.
grabbing all those.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
No,
my
that's
number
fine.
4 ranked like MCU Marvel Studios produced project, and specifically with the season we got,
animation.
with the season we got, dude, like, I just love that Cyclops is cool again. I love that people are finally recognizing Cyclops as the GOAT. He's always been my favorite member of the X-Men, and now, like, that's not like a hot take to say. I also love what they did with Magneto, how he was such a central figure of the season, and how he was kind of justified in how he felt from beginning to end. Like, even in the finale, I was like rooting for Magneto, like high key. Like, obviously
Magneto
his yeah, like, obviously
We'll get into that.
like that's a whole debate, which I'm sure we're gonna have. But overall, love the season. Can't wait for season 2. And fuck, man, just completely blew away all my expectations.
Alex, Sir Hat Guy, let's hear your thoughts.
So I'm going to be pretty quick because I don't have much to say that hasn't already been said that won't be said. I thought it was great, but I got to go to an event before it came out that showed us the first 3 episodes early, and walking out of that event, I said that if it kept at this pace, it would be the best MCU project of all time.
Not to cut you off, but I do want to give you credit for mentioning that because you were the first one on that, and I didn't really believe it. But after I watched it, I was like, "Oh, Hat Guy cooking."
No, and obviously, as you guys know, especially with George, like, we have completely different audiences. Like, our audience is like MCU, like Endgame's the best movie they've ever seen. So for me to say that, like, I did get a lot of scrutiny for that, and so I very much feel very justified and vindicated with how good the season ended up being. And for me, it is easily the best Marvel Studios MCU project for me by far. I notoriously am very hard on the MCU. I don't think they have a perfect project. I don't think they have a perfect 10 out of 10 until I think X-Men 97, even though I do think there are flaws, and we'll get into it, I think the highs outweigh the flaws that just, I mean, like, there for sure, there are going to be flaws in any show, but wow, dude, I mean, the good stuff in this show is some of the best stuff ever, and we'll talk about that. So that's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to nitpick this show like crazy. Don't you guys worry. Alex Coleman is still here for some reason. Give us your thoughts.
Who invited this guy?
So, like, I'm gonna keep it brief as well. I mean, it brought my joy back, honestly. I don't know if I can confirm it's the best MCU project, but out of the shows they produced, definitely. I mean, I've already checked out. I did not watch Echo. Kevin Feige, get the red dot away from me. But the thing is, this show Really
say it
made me
again,
like
say it
question
again.
it. And it's not just about that, like the fact that they were able to revive this night, like X-Men 97. It wasn't a cash grab. They actually had something to say with it. They advanced so many different characters. They took so much from different comic book storylines and amalgamated them into something better. I was actually watching a video of someone breaking down the different storylines that they use and like they substitute different characters. I really like what they did with Rogue. We'll get into it even deeper, but the cameo specifically, I like how this felt like not just the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It felt like the Marvel. What is going on with that?
Dude,
it felt like the Marvel
I'm
Universe.
blazing it.
And it wasn't like the cameos were just there to be like, oh shit, oh what? Like it felt like it was a bigger universe. This is just a story that's inside of it. And like they said before, everyone here, the X-Men are back to being the A team, the A side, the money draw, the box office, them. And it's been a minute because Cyclops has been trolled upon because in media he's been a bitch. Sorry, I'm gonna have to say it.
I mean, call him what he really is.
Yeah,
He's a
real.
cuck.
But finally, he is brought back to glory. And the first episode really automatically like locked you back in. Like this is a guy that you don't want to play with. And the team, the family aspect, the wholesome nature of it, everyone just feels it just was amazing. And it was so paced perfectly. These are 30-minute episodes, and it felt like it wasn't just breezing by. It felt like it was leaving a lasting impact on me that's going to carry on forever. I can't wait for season 2. We'll delve into it deeper. Cam, take us away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First off, Supes, I don't know. I thought you were going back to check the Nuggets score. It's over. The game's over. Nuggets won. It's Jamal Murray going God mode.
Really?
It's God mode Jamal Murray night. So that means we can just focus on X-Men 97. But X-Men 97, man, is just I'm kind of in the opposite boat of like Sammy in the sense that I got some youngins on this damn pod. I'm kind of an unk right now. But I'm in the middle ground where I was not born during X-Men 97 or the original, which was 99 technically, right? I was almost there, but not born yet. And so like my first introduction is X-Men 2000, and I didn't watch those. Honestly, I didn't watch X-Men 2000, 2002, or The Last Stand until probably 3-4 years ago. Like I watched maybe a little longer than that now, like my freshman year of college. So maybe like 6 years ago now. Jesus, I got to kill myself. But like that, I didn't watch them for a long while. I had seen the other X-Men movies, obviously, and been a big X-Men fan, big Marvel fan, big MCU guy. Like I'm a massive fan of that. And I've never given a shit about the X-Men, like in the slightest. I like Logan, obviously, because they just beat him home in your head. They do what to him? But they obviously Hugh Jackman's a fantastic actor. And so he gets the most screen time, and Logan's a great project, and I absolutely adore it. So they give him the screen time he deserves. Fuck Logan. I'm out on Wolverine again.
Fuck Wolverine.
Fuck Wolverine.
Yo, Cam, to piggyback off what you just
Say
said,
that again,
and a little bit of what Alex said as well. Like, dude, I also think they're using a lot of what's working in X-Men 97 to introduce the MCU version of the X-Men.
Good.
Like, if this show bombed, dude, I could have totally have seen them like reintroducing
Reverting
the X-Men
back.
with like Logan as like one of the central figures.
Yeah.
Whereas like now, since X-Men 97 has worked and it's resonated and it's super successful, now like I could totally see them introducing the X-Men without Logan even there. Like Logan doesn't need to be
Exactly.
in
We
the
don't
X-Men
need
movie at all.
Logan. We got like
Exactly.
solo movies already. We got Logan.
Yeah. And
Give the
as
other one some shine. Give them screen time, bro. Come on.
as a guy who's going through the X-Men movies again right now, and I'm currently like 80% of the way through X-Men Origins Wolverine, ass crack of a movie. I hate it. And I was watching it, and there's like I'm 30 minutes in, and I'm like, I don't think I've seen Logan fight once outside of the like running through time scene. You don't see him fight once. Ass movie, but like obviously they just give you so much time with Wolverine, and I can't wait to talk it like what we want to see in the future with the X-Men and what we want to see like from the MCU X-Men. But I also just want to talk like later. There is, in my opinion, and we can come back to this, zero way to do this good of a project in live action with the X-Men. You cannot do live action X-Men this way, because what you can't do is you can't show a broader universe. And I talked about this in a video once. You can't do, hey, why was 23 projects ago when we got Giant Celestial coming out of the ground and now we don't know shit about him? in animation, you can obviously like you could do that. You cannot do this many characters given this much heart. You can't do that in live action
to piggyback off of that, on top of just the universe of it all, another reason why you will never be able to do the X-Men in live action better than they did the X-Men in X-Men 97 is no spoilers, but the way they do the Nightcrawler Bamf effect is unbelievable in this show.
It's all of them.
When he's fighting with Wolverine,
we have our episode where we reviewed the show coming out tomorrow. So our audience will see this, but for your audience, my favorite scene in any superhero movie ever is the White House attack. Nightcrawler.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
It's my favorite scene in any superhero movie ever, or maybe fight scene in any superhero movie. I love that scene with all my heart, and even that doesn't compare to how they use Nightcrawler in this show, because animation as a medium, like, just it did it so much justice. So
But
even like the finale where like Roberto is fully informed, like that would never in a million years look good in live action.
That Jubilee, you'll never see Jubilee in live action because you're never going to see a fireworks fight.
Fireworks.
You're never going to see Magneto use his fucking. You're never going to see.
I
Charles
love
Xavier
how they use. Oh my god,
Aquaman rings coming out of his head. Like you're not going to see that.
They
in
had
live
Storm brain down lightning on sand and create glass, brother.
Did she
You think
freeze
they're
that
doing
shit too? Oh my
they're
god.
doing that? They're not doing that in live action. I'm telling you right
Dude,
now.
and rewatching the original X-Men, man, it's so frustrating sometimes. Storm takes 5 seconds to power up, or 10 seconds every time. Her eyes roll back, right? She gets white, and then like the storm comes crackling in. And it's like, hey, shoot her with a gun. You have 45 seconds, pull the trigger.
And then the most legendary line of all time: what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
Yeah.
Same thing everything else does. That's a cold bar. That's a bar, though. I'm not gonna
Bro, what was Holly Berry
This is why
doing in that
animation matters. This is why.
Dude,
I was looking at this. Oh my god. Every fight sequence, like especially the last episode with like Cyclops firing beams, it just looks immense. And it looks like they've taken so much time to make this. It looks so good.
We're gonna get into
Nothing
it.
else has
It's
an
solos. It's solos.
Are we going into spoilers yet? I feel like we're
not yet.
We're still
Yeah.
inching close.
no
I'm ready
major
to just
spoilers
spoil
yet.
everything.
All right. We're getting dangerously close to spoilers. Quickly, let me give my non-spoiler free spoiler-free thoughts, and then we'll get into spoilers because we're gonna unpack every single thing we just talked about. Obviously. I love the show. On top of everything you guys say, you guys even mentioned it. One of my favorite things about the show is just how well they established and reintroduced all of these characters, made it feel really intimate to the X-Men, but also they're just paving the way for this massive, hopeful, eventual cinematic universe. We'll obviously get into it, but there are a lot of cameos that kind of point in that direction. This entire show was kind of fan service at its very, very best. It's like when I saw Anakin Skywalker return in Ahsoka. It's fan service, and it takes care of all of these characters in like the best way possible. It's not fan service for the like point of just pointing at your screen and getting like a 30-second reaction. It's like truly like meaningful and impactful fan service. I love this 90s animation, and I love how they can bring it to 2024 and make it look modern, make it look appealing on the eye. Because like you guys said, this shit does not work in live action, and it looks so fucking gorgeous in animation. But yeah, on top of everything you guys said, I love the show. We'll get into it towards the end of the episode, how we stack it up against other MCU projects. We'll talk about some animated television shows. We'll talk about even some live action film as well. Cam, you were going to say something?
Yeah, just not to call anybody out, but our lovely co-host, like Tyler C. Whitmore, he's not an animation guy. He says it time and time again, which is totally fine. And he's also not a superhero guy, so like it doesn't matter to him in any way. But like this is why animation is such an important medium to do something to this scale, because I say it all the time. It's the same thing to animate a person standing as it is to animate a giant action sequence, right? Like it's the same. Obviously, you can cut corners for just standing and stuff, but it's the same idea. is that so you can put anything you want in an animated project. And this is why, like, for me, animation is so important, and giving stories like this to people that like, and also you don't need a massive actor. I've said it before. You don't need a Hugh Jackman or a James McAvoy or a Michael Fassbender. You just get any actor who I don't know any of these people's names, so I'm very sorry to them. But like you're casting the characters, right? You're not casting an actor. You're not casting a Pedro Pascal because he's the biggest name in Hollywood right now for a Mr. Fantastic. Even though I think he'd do amazing as that role. Is he Mr. Fantastic? I don't know. You know, it's one of those things. You're casting him because you're going to get butts in seats with Pedro Pascal right now versus where Logan, you know, you can cast the character in animation.
Cam's a fan cast.
But,
fan cast.
Yo, I also wanted to say, you know, coming off of George's point about fan service and how this show is just the ultimate vessel of fan service. Like, dude, I love how they made this. Like, first of all, I think reviving a show that was like super popular in the 90s and was like a lot of people's first introduction to the X-Men in general. Like, I think that takes a lot of guts because there's obviously going to be a massive expectation. And if this show was anything less than what it was in the 90s, like if it was still good, but not as good as the 90s, how it was in the 90s, then it would have gotten obliterated on social media. Mm-hmm. So there's already a massive expectation on the show coming back. But this show was also made for the people who grew up watching it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This isn't made for like kids on Disney Plus. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what totally. You know, a lot of the content
and it's also made by people that like love the X-Men. You can tell.
Yeah,
that's the and so I feel like in a lot of comic book media these days, you get a lot of people saying, "Oh, we like the people that made this new movie or whatever don't like the source material." But I'm like, these guys saw there's a plethora of stuff to work with. They said, let's go ham. Let's take every storyline that's available to us and let's try to make something great. And you can just tell this is a passion thing. This is not like you guys said before. This is not a cash grab. The cameos, everything. This feels like it's for the audience that originally like this show.
Do you think they could ever like pull out like a first X-Men movie, say 2027 rolls around, first X-Men movie, and the villain is revealed to be Bastion? Do you think like anyone cares?
They would never.
Like,
I don't think they would never.
Now people do because you can do that in animated shows. People that give a shit about it, even if they made the best villain of all time in Bastion in live action, whatever it is in their future movie in this hypothetical scenario, people wouldn't care prior to the movie. They just wouldn't.
Cam, I want to open this conversation up to like the rest of the group because like, dude, one of the things I first said when I saw like the first 3 episodes when they dropped was, I think the show was too good in that, bro.
I expect this.
I think I know what you're talking about.
This is going to. It's
no way.
It's so good that it's going to be a problem to where now Marvel. Like, I really hope they don't do this, but they're gonna be like, let's just like bring back all these nostalgia projects.
Agatha's gonna suck.
So but it is so damn good because people actually give a shit. But like, they're gonna be like, oh, let's bring back 90s Spider-Man because they just want to see old stuff. Like, no, like, there's a reation why this worked.
Well, that's like it. Can you imagine?
It good, and everyone's like, let's make a Monopoly movie now. Like, no, there's a reason why this stuff worked. Don't fuck it up.
I was literally thinking about this as I was watching it today. You can bring back X-Men, like their original 90s characters, and reintroduce them in 2024. I think if they ever tried to do that with Batman the animated series, people would kill themselves.
They're kind of doing that.
You can
Conroy.
Yeah, if they ever tried to do that, especially without Conroy and Mark Hamill, like they would get lit up.
Oh yeah,
it would be bad. It would be.
But all right, we're gonna talk a lot of spoilers, so let's just start getting into it. We're gonna run episode by episode. We're just gonna talk quick thoughts. We'll try. I'm sure we're gonna go out on tangents and talk a lot, but let's try to keep every episode to below 10 minutes. Tangent. So I will keep track of the time and I will kind of like just speed everyone up. And we've been doing a good job this entire episode, but just a reminder, there's 6 of us. So let's just try not to talk over each other like crazy. But let's dive right into it. So episode 1, we're picking up a year after the supposed murder of Professor Xavier. We're introduced to the X-Men, obviously, and they are, it's very quickly translated to their audience that they are being sanctioned by the United Nations. The whole episode kind of serves as an introduction to the X-Men, as introduction to our core group of characters. We get introduced to Roberto and the the Friends of Humanity, the anti mutant militants. We are greeted to kind of like an introductory battle where the X-Men go and meet Trask, and you kind of get introduced to the Sentinels and just kind of where in time Trask is with the Sentinel program. Two big moments of the episode are, of course, towards the end. Cyclops and Jean. Jean is pregnant, and Cyclops kind of announces to the X-Men that they are leaving the X-Men. And you get the last will and testament of Professor Charles Xavier, which introduces one of the coldest characters I've ever seen, Mr. Magneto. Sammy, kick us off. What were your thoughts of episode 1 as kind of an introduction? Do you think they built, enough intrigue to continue on to episodes 2 through 10? And then obviously talk about the introduction of Magneto.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head there with like all of the big moments that were in this episode. But like, I just think coming off of, obviously we've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but coming off of that huge break, 30 years from where that show ended, and like just the big cliffhanger of like, is Professor X actually dead? What's going on with the X-Men now? And just doing a really good job at like hitting us with quick character moments and beats to be like, okay, the X-Men are still here. They're still doing their thing. Showing some damn respect with the action sequences. Like, we're going to talk about the animation being just absolutely incredible. Like Scott just being like a little cocky fucking son of a bitch with his little laser beams. And he's like, oh no, you got me. Psych, bitch. Gotcha. Like, that was great. Everyone gets a moment to shine in this episode. And you're just like, you're in there again. You're just like, I'm in again. Like, this is the X-Men. This is who they are. This is how they work as a team. I'm back in here. And then you just get those character moments of like, well, I don't want to say character moments, but like the overarching narrative, like starting to build up of like, okay, there's friction between mutants and humanity, like there always is. And, the X-Men are an allegory of oppression and everything and trying to fit in. And we're starting to get those little seeds planted in. And I think this episode did a really good job of like, I guess building that foundation for the next episodes to come, because it's hard for my brain to not just go to like 10 episodes or like 5 episodes later of like, okay, this is a seed that got planted and that got planted. Because they just do such a great job of just building you back up, remembering who these characters are, where they are, how they're established, or how they were previously established. Now they're building upon that. And just like you said, dropping that bomb of Magneto being the one who gets the X-Men from Professor X is just fucking crazy, because it's almost crazy that you believe it works. And for a couple episodes, it kind of does. You know what I mean? Like, you start buying into the fact that, okay, right, Magneto might actually be like him, and he starts kind of changing his thought process of that too. And yeah, man, I just think this episode was incredible. A really good way to start us off and reintroduce us to this group. So I'm going to let everyone else talk before I talk ad nauseum.
I don't think, real quick, just to go on the fly, 6 people on a podcast, I don't think it works to everyone just run through their
No. Every episode... Yeah, we're going to start with someone different every episode and then just kind of go where the conversation takes it. So feel free to chime in. Like, I wasn't going to anyone after Sammy, but since I'm talking right now, to Sammy's point, I completely agree. I think this is truly, and like I might use the word perfect a little too many times this episode, because I really do love this show. This was like a perfect pilot to me. It says, hi, here are all of our characters, and we're going to make you care about every single one of them. Here are our fight scenes and how they look in animation. You're going to love it. It looks fucking awesome. And we are going to just get better as time goes along with every episode. And it says, here's the world. Here is the story we're building, and you're going to fucking love it. It kind of hits every single thing perfectly to tell you that you're about to take like the ride of your life with this one season. Hat Guy, I see you ready to talk. Go for it.
Yeah, let me just give a perspective that I don't know how many of you guys are big comic readers. I'm an enormous comic reader. I grew up reading comics, etc. This, like what you guys are saying, for this being a perfect pilot, you're right, because it introduces the characters, etc., etc. But like the seeds you're talking about you being planted, comic readers, this show rewards you if you have read comics. I've known every single thing they're going to do, but they make little changes about them to make them more exciting, to make them more interesting. I know exactly what they're going to do in season 2. I just do. But like for this, okay, Jean is pregnant. Okay, that's that. I know immediately what's going on there. Like, oh, okay, you're bringing in Gyrick and Bolivar Trask. Okay, and they kind of work together. Okay, I know exactly what's going on there. The vision that you see Jean get, like this show was so gratifying as a comic reader. It showed like, God, these people writing Bo DeMaio, Brad Winderbaum, these people are not only fans of the original X-Men 97 show, not only are they fans of the characters, but they read books, which is so important for us.
Yeah, this is literally
Yo.
this animated television in the form of Supes. You're on the phone. Mute yourself. This is literally
Wait,
that
what?
was so funny.
Did you guys hear
We
me?
could hear you on the phone. Yeah.
Are you?
I wasn't on the phone though.
No,
Bro
he
was
wasn't
ordering
on the phone,
wings.
dude. He was talking to us.
It was. I think it was just Hat Guy reverberating his thought. That's how good the
I thought
thoughts
it
were.
was
You had to hear him
reversed.
twice.
Someone was echoing it.
That's
It
how
sounded
good
like
it
he was on the phone.
No, I don't think he will.
Oh, my
I wasn't.
No, but I wanted to say, like, piggybacking
Yo.
off of that guy, like, bro, the plot lines, like you mentioned, like, I think another thing I want to say is just I've been yapping too long. But anyway, it's just like how they get those comic storylines. Because I do know a couple. I used to read a couple of X-Men was my shit back in the day. But like adapting it, I think that's the biggest thing is like making it their own and really owning that is really what I think really makes it compelling and gripping. Because like you can see where it's gonna go, but then they're like, hold on, wait a minute. They go Missy Elliott, and if you're from Memphis, when yet it flip it on his head. It's just so genius.
To Alex's point on like as comic lovers feeling rewarded, this is exactly watching the show. This is exactly how I felt watching Matt Reeves' The Batman, where they take so many elements of The Long Halloween, Year Two, Ego and Other Tales, and it feels so rewarding. You know this story, it feels familiar, but they're doing just enough to keep you on the edge of your seat, which is exactly what they're doing with this TV show, which is just brilliant.
Yeah, I think to interject off Alex on top of it, like accepting comic book readers, it plays it out enough till I'm not a comic book reader. I'll never read comics. I'm very sorry. Reading's hard though, and that's why I like movies. I just think this show gives you so much potential as a non-comic reader. If you're an X-Men fan, but you don't know the comics, like it introduces you with something as simple as the Sentinels, which we've seen before in movies. And then, like the Trask name and everything from the movies. But like Bastion is so new, and I guess you're not introduced to him just yet, but it lays that seed work in the sense that it gives you a little bit of a surface level introduction and then dives way deeper into the lore and everything. And like I said, I don't read comics, but I watch a whole lot of like YouTube videos and stuff or breakdowns and things like that. And so that's kind of where I get my information from. It just dives so much deeper into the lore, but it's a perfect setup for those to not like it. This show goes deep into lore, but not in the first episode. So it gives you that basis to bring people in. Right.
Yeah. The first, like I said, first episode just felt like just a perfect first episode. It is really its audience. It's not giving you like this insane like lore dissection. It's basically just it's building its foundation as well as it could.
Dude, I also like how it was an entire episode being the pilot for the season of just Cyclops being a fucking G. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not Cyclops, deflecting to Professor X or to Magneto as they do throughout the rest of the season, which is obviously still very good. But as a Cyclops fan, it's like this is the guy they're looking to for answers, and he's leading them to paradise.
How do you think
him flying out of the sky, making the crater? Oh my god, it's so
bro, that drop.
Like logically, it makes no goddamn sense. What are you doing? Wear a parachute, buddy. But who gives a fuck?
Who cares?
That scene is so tough. It's like, yo, I'm him. Like
there's
I'm
also like
that's how you superhero land, baby.
I don't like when movies. I don't like when movies go too simple, being in the sense that like Cyclops has laser beams and Magneto controls metal, right? But this show gives you like Cyclops' beams aren't actually laser beams.
Concussive blast, and they finally showed it.
Concussive blast, and he's bouncing them off people. And Magneto isn't the master of magnetism. What's he? He's like the master of like, or not the master of metal, but the master of magnetism, right? So he controls like the tectonic plates in the earth, just things like that it gives you that this show does so well.
Level, baby.
Yeah, and I think like one question I have for you guys is, how do you think it would work in live action, a big MCU movie to have a big X-Men MCU movie to have no Charles Xavier? Do you think that works in a movie?
Not for an intro.
You have to start
Not
off.
for an intro.
No.
Like, I think
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
You
the
need it.
ideologies between Magneto or Eric and Charles, like the
Yeah.
integral part of.
Dude, the
Exactly.
entire fucking
I mean,
X-Men
That's why I
franchise
fucking
is
First
just-
Class so much, bro.
say
I
that
love
again.
First Class is great.
First
First
Class.
Class is really good.
Yeah,
and that's
Sammy
why
is
most people like
anti-First
forget
Class.
Apocalypse.
It's
and Dark
good.
Knight.
There's some things with it that I don't
Sammy
like
is
because of
anti
what's
First
his
Class.
name? What's
But
his name? I just
the entire fucking X-Men
it's good. It's good.
franchise is just Magneto and Charles yelling, Eric, Charles, Eric, Charles.
This isn't you. This isn't you.
Charles, this is us. And it's just shut the fuck up, JP.
Real quick. Real quick,
And
remember
I
the
love
Holocaust, buddy.
Black Boy. Yeah,
Like it's
and
like literally, it's.
It's just them.
it's
like
just
two
them
brothers
yelling
fighting.
at each other, and then at the end they're like, "Oh, we can."
Oh
play
shit! Like you're
chess."
kind of my dog. Like fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe
shit,
we
my
should
bad,
play
G.
chess.
We kind of
right
locked
now.
into it. My bad.
My fault, OG. My fault, OG.
My fault. My fault.
I might have slaughtered like an entire like 30 people, but like my fault, OG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Let's
I feel
let's
like, dude, I want to talk about Genosha. We gotta talk about.
No, we don't.
Bro,
We don't. We're trying to get episode
Bro,
5.
let me start off with episode
Episode
2.
five.
Let me start off with episode 2. This episode is a banger. The next one,
yeah. All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Episode 2. Okay, so episode 2, obviously episode 1 leaves on the cliffhanger of Magneto. Episode 2, you
love
kind
that
of expected to
pacing.
open up with a lot of animosity towards that Magneto, to the point where even Cyclops and Jean decide they're not leaving. They're like, yo, we don't trust this fucking guy, even though he's so goddamn good looking. We don't trust him. It don't matter. But this episode was huge. Magneto gets arrested, and he willingly takes himself before the United Nations to plead his case, to defend himself. And obviously, you kind of knew shit was going to go down when the Friends of Humanity attack. The big moments of this episode, Storm gets hit by a depowering radiation bullet, and correct me if I'm wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was, which inevitably leads her to losing her powers. Magneto this is kind of the episode, and I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts on. And again, I'm going to toss the spoiler tag on because obviously we're talking spoilers. But like if we talk and I happen to like mention something from like a couple episodes down, I'm sorry. But this was the first episode with Magneto where I was kind of like, okay, like he's like truly, he means business. Like he wants to make amends with the X-Men. He wants to continue Charles's legacy. He brings all of the United Nations personnel into the sky, and I fully expected him to just drop them, but no, he basically just goes full Charles Xavier on them and like vouches for coexistence. And you'll get into that. And then the episode ends with a Jean. At this point, all we know is a Jean lookalike knocks on the door and surprises everyone. Alex Coleman, we will start with you on episode 2 because you seemed very excited before I started to rant. Give me your thoughts. Give me your whatever you want to talk about.
This is when I locked in. I leaned forward. I realized this show is the real deal. I literally watched this on the treadmill. And I literally was, I've never been more dialed in my life. I was running and I literally was like, I shit you not. Once Magneto gives his big monologue in front of the UN, I choked up. I sent Sammy and Cam text. I was like, yo, what the fuck? This show's insane.
Yeah.
Literally,
Because Alex,
everything
you started like episode 5, right? When we
You started a
Sammy and I
little
were
late,
talking.
right?
yeah, I started so late. I like put the
Like
show off
episode
because I
8,
wasn't
honestly.
sure.
Sammy and I were talking about it, and you were
Yeah.
like, that's when you started. Yeah.
I kept
from
like
this-
putting it off.
From this,
And
I
then
said it
episode
in the
2,
group
yeah.
chat, just real quick, but like from this moment on, bro, everything that comes out of Magneto's mouth,
It's facts.
Yeah, it's insane.
Facts.
It's insane.
the dialogue,
Yeah,
Literally,
he's
it's just
dropping
like,
Tom Hardy bars.
it's
Brother,
like
yes.
this is the social commentary I want to see in like this kind of media. Like it's not just surface level. It's actually like, oh shit, like this guy's actually like talking.
We
And-
have a real life in this show. We watch a Holocaust survivor say to the UN, "These are words I have said too many times, never again." Are you kidding me?
And he
Like,
still vouches for Charles. And then when he brings up the UN, and hold on, pause. And then, like, I'm not kidding you. As he's giving this monologue, I shit you not, I was getting a little choked up on the treadmill. Yo, definitely people were watching me break down. The moment they take Storm's powers, and he literally, Magneto flips. And it's like he's still like maintaining that level of like, I'm gonna vouch for Charles's like, his words and his ideology, but I'm gonna give you a warning. Holy fuck. Watching
See, that's-
like Storm
bro,
like seem to like,
that's
holy
where-
shit, I can't feel the wind or whatever. I can't feel like, I'm like, oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
and
Holy
That's
just
where
gonna be
that
called
is where
back
I
to-
like endlessly praise this show for its character work. In that very moment, the whole first half of the episode, Magneto is. He's not killing humans. He's not killing mutants. He's saving both of them. He gives that nice speech before the UN where he's like, whatever, like, I'm a good guy. Storm gets shot. There's a shot where the camera like goes to Magneto. He looks down at Storm, and I was like, he is about to ruin everyone in this entire building. And then the show reminds you, like, this is a sympathetic villain. This is a very sympathetic guy. Like, he is a product of just his experience. And that's where I was like, wow, this is phenomenal character. Like a great character moment for Magneto.
And you want to talk about great character moments? You know, we could talk all day about the bars. Magneto has a bar at least 5 bars per episode.
Every time he opens his mouth is a bar.
And it's like he doesn't even. He's like he constantly keeps trying to not be this guy that's like, oh, fuck
what I love.
I want to take him out.
Incredible. But like, you want to talk about a great character moment where we were just talking about Storm losing her powers, and this takes no dialogue. You see Storm, the goddess of the weather, be scared by lightning. That is incredible. That is so good. That like tells you so much about what these characters are feeling. That moment was the moment, not the never again moment, not the animation in the first episode, not all the badass fights that were in the first 2 episodes. But that moment was the moment I was sitting there in the theater where I said, this is going to be the best MCU project of all time. And then they don't slow down in episode 3. So
and then guys, season 2, can you invite me?
And then Storm, there's another awesome moment, which is pretty much the exact same thing that you just said, Alex. When she's in her room and the sound design, all you hear is the rain, where like it's like so exaggerated, and it's like, wow, like she probably like hasn't experienced like that type of relationship to nature her whole life. And the show does such a good job at like making sure you're aware of like how she's feeling in that exact moment. It's so awesome.
Yeah, like we've just been glazing the dialogue. Like the dialogue is good, but I think like to Alex's point, George, what you just said, like it's those quiet character moments where they're just kind of letting them breathe and letting the characters be characters and just experience the world themselves is what makes the show so damn special.
And Sammy, I know you're like me, where your favorite moments in the Spider-Verse moments are those little moments with like Miles and his mom and Gwen and her dad.
Best scene across the Spider-Verse, bro. Miles and his mom, best scene in the movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what this show is giving us. Exactly. These awesome small moments.
We're talking so much about the dramatics of this show. Episode 2 is hilarious. Episode 2 might be the funniest episode of the entire show. When Jean is like, he's coming, and Wolverine, apocalypse? Like that is hilarious. The scene with the nurse that won't deliver her baby, and like Rogue is like, he takes his power. I need it.
He takes over the doctor's like ability, like memories, and everything. Like I can deliver the baby. I was like, bro, like, and the fact that like they're dealing with this like the fucking they're getting attacked at the UN, but like Jean has to deliver a baby, and like and fucking Cyclops is like, oh shit, like I gotta go, gang. Like yo, I got it.
Like
it's so perfect. He's like, yo, can y'all handle this, bro? Like I gotta go.
It just feels like a family. Like you understand the X-Men right there in that moment. Like they just feel like your family.
And they're all the family members are like, oh yo, we have to get. All the family members are like, yo, we have to get Cyclops out of here. We have to get Scott out of here so we can get to Jean. Yeah. It's great. It's great. Logan driving Jean. Oh my, go. You guys got it.
That's hilarious. And then at the end of the episode, where Magneto and Scott, he gives him the coffee, and he's like, poison, and he's like, decaf. Like that's so 90s.
It's my favorite episode.
It's so funny.
Good. Yeah.
All right, let's keep the convo rolling, because we just mentioned Jean, and obviously that's the big kind of cliffhanger ending of this episode, and now we're heading into episode 3. Cam, you said you have to share your screen.
No, damn it.
3? Oh, was that a surprise?
Oh yeah, just start. All
right,
I know exactly what you're doing. I'm gonna get him out anyway. Wood.
Where is it?
I don't know.
Is it
at
wood?
the bottom of the screen yard?
Wood.
Because respectfully,
Wood.
I can explain. Wood. I think we can all agree, right? Like
episode 3.
All agree?
Yes.
This shit means
my Goblin Queen.
All right.
All right, put the picture down, bro. I'm bricked. Holy shit.
All right, episode 3. So it's eventually revealed that existing Jean is clone Jean, new Jean is real Jean. I'm not even going to give a full synopsis on this episode. We have the introduction of my homie, Mr. Sinister, absolute demon fuck. He basically he kind of torments Clone Jean's mind. He creates Clone Jean because he wants Jean and Cyclops' DNA. When all of this is revealed, he possesses Clone Jean, turns her into Miss Green Goblin, the Goblin
Queen. Green Goblin.
Yes.
Give me the mask.
But,
Think about it, hero.
The Goblin Queen.
Somewhat of a Goblin Queen
Whole fight bullshit breaks out. Big moments of this episode. Nathan is taken. He is poisoned with, I don't even know, techno-organic virus, I think it was. And the end of the episode ends with Bishop taking Nathan to somewhere in the future, somewhere, I don't know where exactly, to potentially find a heal. We get the Madeline Pryor name drop, which to Hat Guy Alex's point way earlier in this episode, just another like, you knew this was coming and it still felt so rewarding. Like once you see Jean pregnant in episode 1, once second Jean comes through the door, you know exactly where this is going. Like you hear the name Nathan and you know to think Cable, and they just, even though you know all of this, it just feels like such fantastic payoff. So like even the Madeline Pryor name drop, it's just another like DiCaprio pointing at screen meme moment where it's like, oh, I know that. And then the episode ends with Forge's introduction saying that he can gain Storm's power back. Cam, we'll kick it off with you this episode. Thoughts on everything?
I think, yeah, like you guys were hooked by episode 2, and I was for the most part, but I think episode 3 is where it really starts getting fun, and really starts bringing me in. This is where you get the most lore. I believe like it's where it starts diving into the X-Men family the most, almost. And again, just it being like a show with this long runtime, even though these episodes are 30, 35 minutes, whatever it may be. Like you have a lot more time to flesh out these stories, and you're actually doing the X-Men stories properly and how they should be done, almost in the sense like live action Deadpool 2, we get Cable obviously, but you don't have the time to like go off, oh, it's Cyclops and it's Jean Grey's son in the future and he comes back. Like you don't get any of that. And this is the fun of it, right? And you get these stories and you get introduced to these characters and they have this long back story, and this is why you can care about them. And you see the two different Jeans and they look the exact same for the most part. And you get the classic like fighting scene looking the same.
Just real quick. Anyone that watched the old animated shows and the comics, like we already knew which one was the real Jean, just off of her fainting.
Fair.
I knew right away.
That's fair. I am not that, but I think this is where the show starts getting fun and starts really bringing it home. And then episode 4 loses you, but we'll talk about it.
I think what I really like about this episode, and let's just get it going, is the genre blending that we start seeing in these episodes. Like we get some horror in here, like that little poltergeist scene, and then like to Gambit's horror, like seeing his girl getting her cheeks fucking caved in by Magneto with some vines for some reason.
That
like,
shit was like straight out of Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Yeah, bro. Like
Harry and Hermione like kissing. He's like, yeah, I was really like thinking that. I was like, that's crazy. But yeah.
No, I was even gonna bring up like the horror elements in 2 episodes when we get Adversary's introduction. Like, that shit was, like, flat out frightening.
Yeah. No, for sure. But obviously, would. We've already kind of ad nauseum said that. Like, holy shit, Queen Mommy. What else was I going to say? Anyway, someone else talk. Let me think.
I think first off, I love that Supes is making dinner, and Red Baron is mid compared to DiGiorno, just so you know.
Good.
And Jack's Pizza is the budget pizza if you're going budget. So there's really no reason to buy Red Baron, to be honest with you. But that's just pizza talk today. But pizza so
is crazy.
I love that moment where like the fake or clone Jean was like pleading like it's me, and it made the it's a good like pondering question of like what makes the person a person. Like is it their memories? Is it them? Like and Scott really is like let's let Beast deal with this. I don't know.
Dude,
like it brings a little.
Could you imagine being Cyclops in this scenario? That's what I was going to say.
What do you do?
Because literally, like, it's you, like Gene. It's a clone of you. It's you, but like it's not you. But it's you.
It's like dating a twin, being locked in a dark room, and like you know what I mean. Like Oh shit!
But it's like the twin is you. You guys share the same DNA. It's like my bad. I didn't know it was
just
like,
memories.
This is where I thought Mr. Sinister was going to be like the main villain of the movie. Like I kind of assumed, or not movie, the show. I kind of assumed that's the route it was going. Obviously, again, maybe you guys didn't being comic readers, but I think it does a good like it's just back to the fact that this is a well written show. We get these 6-episode shows all the time that have no clue where they're going. So it's like first 2 episodes could be good, second 2 are ass. Then 5th episode's fine, and then 6th episode has Anakin as Darth Vader, and so you're pulled back in again. But like,
no, I'm kidding. That's
no, but it's just like your showrunners have to have a fucking idea of where they're wanting to go, and you can do multiple villains. You can do Sebastian, you can do Trask, you can do Mr. Sinister, you can do Magneto for episodes. Like, but it's all driving towards this story. And this is just like is competent show running 101, which Marvel has been missing. It feels like.
Yeah, I just really love the action sequence with Queen Goblin because like I feel like that's been a complaint for a lot of X-Men fans. It's like Jean Grey doesn't really get her shine. In here, they show you just how formidable she is.
Yeah,
she might be Queen Goblin,
and she's playing Jordan Flugame. She's playing Jordan Flugame too.
Yeah.
This I'm gonna make like such weird comparisons all episode, and I'm gonna make 2 right now, and I'm just gonna continue our conversation on just like how amazing the character work in this show is. This entire show feels like the big battle of Captain America: Civil War, where every single character has like a moment to shine. Every single character has like their like spotlight moment, and it always pays off. Because another weird comparison I'm gonna make is this show is animated The Bear. I've been saying since the start of The Bear, every single side character you feel for, you are emotionally attached to. They do such a good job making sure that every single character not only has like their big moment, but also just is developed properly. And that's probably like the biggest thing I love about this show, on top of just the incredibly animated and exaggerated fight sequences and like every single like Easter egg I see. The thing I love the most is just the character work of this show. It makes not a minute go by feel unwarranted.
Well, I said almost the exact same thing as you, George, on our episode that comes out tomorrow. Although I haven't seen The Bear. I compared it to a show that I have seen, Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks, there are 27 characters in that show that get an arc. And so it was just like that. Even if your arc lasts 2 episodes, it's still an arc. And every single character, it feels like, gets an arc in this show.
Yeah.
And they did
Even
this
if your arc
saga thing in like an episode, and it was perfectly done. It was in and out. It wasn't like convoluted or anything, and it perfectly gets Jean her shine. Back to Cyclops. We keep glazing it, but I'm going to keep glazing him. I love that character moment of like him not wanting to be like his father, and he wants to keep his kid, obviously Nathan, but he can't. He doesn't want to be a deadbeat, but like he has to let him go. And it's a lot of hard-hitting moments in the show. We're like 3 episodes in, and I'm like, damn.
Cyclops is such a funny character to me, and this is just like a random thought of mine that I just continue to think throughout the show. When he's not in uniform and he's just like a dude, he's like this very stoic Steve Rogers kind of guy. Then he puts on his uniform, and it's like, this is the last dude on earth you want to step in front of. He will fuck your shit up. And I think that's just the funniest dichotomy between like husband.
Yeah, speaking of Steve Rogers,
superhero,
super dad.
Yeah,
Steve Rogers. We'll get to that cornball. We'll get to that cornball really soon.
Frisbee boy.
Did I hear cameo?
Cameo? Supes is making a cameo.
Don't get Twitter more ammo, man.
I do want to say before we move to episode 4, just
That
first
you
off,
love Alex's SpongeBob pillow.
I do. I
love that.
I do love Alex's SpongeBob pillow. But yes, that. But also, if you're a listener of the ReelTok podcast, the overlap is probably not there as much, and you want to hear more nerd shit because we don't go into nerd shit as much as I would love to. Go listen to the Escape Pod this side. Alex, Hat Guy, they do a fantastic job, and they always have takes that people really respect and like don't put on the internet, and they like people just like put it on the internet to be like, these guys make sense sometimes, and I really want to talk about how competent they are. That's what
they're great people.
Them. Yeah,
watch their pod. Stop being assholes.
Hilarious.
You know what I always say. I am always right. I've never been wrong. You guys just haven't realized that I'm right yet.
It's my list. I cannot.
It only takes exactly. It takes a while for people to realize.
Yeah, but I do want to plug you guys because, like, if you're a new listener here, for us, go listen to the ReelTok podcast. We probably don't talk as much superhero stuff as I would like to do, but that's okay. We talk good stuff. And then if you're a ReelTok listener who wants to hear us talk more superhero stuff,
there's no way you want that ready
for free. You guys are doing that for free? For free?
You can't put this on the internet,
I literally
nudes in bio. We're on Twitter right now.
It's gonna get NC-17. Like it's
this is literally nudes in bio on Twitter right now. Insane.
Also, I'm the only
go listen to the Escape Pod. Also,
all right, I'm gonna cut off our presentation of the Dune popcorn bucket and let's move on to episode 4.
This episode
5.
This episode stinks.
Bring on episode 5. We don't want to talk about it no more.
It's very gorgeous to me.
It's very gorgeous.
I want to start this real quick, George. I'm going to let you finish.
Go.
No. I saw this at this event, okay? At the event where they showed us the first 3 episodes. When they were doing the intro, and they're showing everybody, Cyclops and Jean Grey and everybody's going nuts because this is like a fan event. So like everybody's dressed in cosplays, these characters, whatever. First of all, I never saw Jubilee, want to say that. But when fucking Jubilee came on the screen, everybody went nuts and I went, boo! I booed her so loudly. I
respect that, actually. I'm not going to lie.
She is such a bum. When I saw...
She's a cornball! We've been saying this!
Even before I clicked on the episode to watch it in our living room, I saw that it was a Jubilee-based episode. I literally said, I spoke too soon. This is going to be the worst thing ever.
Cool power.
But it wasn't that
all right,
bad.
So
who's that?
Let George
go.
The worst episode.
I think so.
Just very, very. Well, we won't even touch on it. It is in my opinion. It is, in my opinion, the standout as the worst episode of the season. Sure. It's 2 stories kind of going on at once. One is Motendo, the other is Life Death Part 1, and we'll get to Life Death Part 2 down the line because I do love that episode a lot. Half the episode is Jubilee and Roberto are. Someone correct me because I think I just was lost a little bit. They're inside a video game. And they're basically reliving Jubilee's experiences and like every past mission I think she's went on. And then the other half of the episode is Forge and Storm. They go back to his ranch and Forge basically is like, I have this machine. It'll restore your powers. The machine ultimately fails. And then there's the really like tense scene where Forge basically explains to Storm, like, yeah, like I was involved in the creation of the radiation gun bullets, as well as the the inhibitor collars. Obviously, storms off, no pun intended. And then we're introduced to Adversary, the owl that's been flying around. Does anyone want to say anything, or can I just move to episode 5?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
I just want to give this episode its due because I do appreciate the creative liberties it takes. I mean, it's literally the Matrix. It's the Matrix, and then a fucking trippy ass ayahuasca trip in the second half. But it's just character moments. It's like Jubilee now gets flipped on her head, and she's going through that whole coming of age story because she has Roberto that she's kind of living through and realizing like, okay, I got to put this guy on game of what I learned in like all the other X-Men episodes. And like, bro, it's literally the Matrix. And I also really like how they incorporated like that Marvel versus Capcom video game aesthetic. Like I thought that was cool. Mojo Jojo,
I think
he's a bitch. He's fat. I still don't like him.
Yeah, someone told Mojo to hit the treadmill. On God,
brother. He actually had liposuction. And then he got fat. It was crazy, bro.
Not to get off topic too much, but I really think he's going to be the villain of Deadpool and Wolverine. I think the Cassandra Nova thing. I think she's going to be in it for 2 seconds.
I think you're cooking with that.
When they showed the first picture of Deadpool and Wolverine, the caption was "Keep your eyes peeled." His shtick is his eyes are open like this. I don't know, and I think he'd be a perfect villain for that movie, like for the tone they're taking, etc., etc.
No,
And
definitely.
putting him in X-Men 97, when you think about it, like he is in half of an episode, like really almost feels shoehorned in. Like us X-Men fans know who he is, but the general audiences don't know who he is. It's a very Marvel idea to be like, let's put this guy in 15 minutes of the worst episode just so that we show the general audiences who he is, so that we're not completely confused in Deadpool Wolverine. I strongly think I'm like
Make a very
You're cooking with that. I'm
Dude,
not.
I've never seen someone in the
that's a
kitchen
cook.
like
That's
this
a cook.
before. It's
I'm like
good.
That's
I mean,
a
you
crazy
might be
cook.
completely wrong.
I
and
know
look
I
like
could
an
be
idiot.
totally
Like, you
totally
could
wrong.
cook.
There's
Like,
definitely
that's
a
the cool
red
thing
dot
about
in
theories,
your
bro, is like-
right now.
Yeah,
Definitely a red
I'm
dot.
like
I love it.
60% on that.
I
that
think
he's
this is
gonna be the
this is a
villain.
fine
Yeah.
episode in the sense that Jubilee is without a doubt the most unknown X-Men in this show. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yes, you're right.
Jubilee
You're
and
absolutely
Roberto are like the most unknown. Which
I
fun
have a
fact
Jubilee
in like
toy,
X2, in X2 when they come to the mansion and when Stryker comes to the mansion and is trying to capture everyone, at one point they do yell like Jubilee move or something. So she's in X2. So shout out that.
She's just keys and everything else. She's
yeah.
an
I
apocalypse
didn't know
too.
that.
Oh, is she
Like,
in
no, there's
Apocalypse?
Jubilee.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly,
Sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't made it through yet.
But
in my
she
rewatch,
is
so.
the Jar Jar Binks of the original show. She's
Well, you know
so
what's-
annoying in the
She
original.
actually
show.
has a
That's
lot
not-
of meat.
she's not
meat
that bad
riders,
in-
which is
I don't
crazy.
think she's like that bad in this show.
Sammy, I know
the
you're one of them.
original.
She's gorgeous to me. Please.
I mean,
like
I
her.
don't hate her, is what I'll say.
Would?
Like, I
No.
think this episode was necessary to build her character, and like that, it's kind of like this overarching thing with the X-Men 97 series itself. Is like it has a little bit of something for everybody. Like everybody's has that coming of age story of like, oh,
Cool
shit, I got all
powers.
this,
Cool powers.
I got all
We'll
this
It's
never
like
see that
responsibility
again.
thrust on my shoulder now. Like, what do I do now? And like, kind of paying it forward with someone else who was in your shoes before. Like, I think that's kind of compelling in itself. Obviously, the way they executed it was more fun. Mojo Jojo.
It does.
I
It
thought
does
it was cool.
kind of. It does feel earned, and not to skip ahead all the way to like episode 9, but like Roberto
And then-
obviously makes an eventual decision to go with someone, and the camera immediately cuts to Jubilee. And I don't know if that moment would have like hit as hard as it would have.
Oh,
if
I
he
did
didn't
not
maybe.
I got to bet.
Classic Nightcrawler
I actually don't like that
pulling-
turn.
Pulling
I literally was
mutants
like, bro.
apart. Like, who does he go with?
I was like, what are you
Could be.
doing? Let me.
Yeah.
All right, episode 5.
You don't care
episode
for
five.
her.
Let's go to the best episode. Well, actually,
All
real
right.
quick, I do want to say the latter half of like the whole adversary thing was really cool.
Give
for
it to
Storm's
Supes for episode 5. Oh, it's gone.
All right.
arc.
Episode 5. This is kind of like the all hell breaks loose. This is where shit really turns up.
Wait,
So
George. Can we
Matt,
all?
go
Is this,
crazy.
is this the best episode?
We'll
Episode
discuss
10,
ranking. We'll
episode 10.
discuss.
Or are we doing
rank-
that later?
Yeah, we'll do it a little later.
Yeah, you have
But
a
yeah,
picture,
so
Sammy, when I sent you guys when I saw this episode for the first time, I had a tear going down.
yeah, bro. You were like, why did you guys not warn me
Oh.
or something? You said
I didn't know you were a bitch, dude.
Wait, are we at Genosha?
That's crazy.
Are we at
Gotcha,
Genosha?
no show.
Hold on,
We're at
all
Genosha. We're at.
All right, episode.
Hit it one time, man.
Episode
Hit it.
opens-
Are you screaming?
Guys, we gotta get through
The audio
episode 5.
cut
We gotta
out
get through
straight.
episode 5.
Okay.
All right, episode 5 opens where we have smaller moments between Cyclops. I'm muting Supes because he's loud as shit right now. No offense, Supes. Your background is really loud.
Background.
Wait. No.
We're never gonna get through this shit.
We're never finished.
Yeah, we're never getting through this. So
I love
real
this.
Jean,
My favorite
real Jean is lost. She's having a massive identity crisis, obviously, between her memories of real Jean and old Jean. She's like mistakenly falling in love with Logan, and she even at one point like proclaims her love for him. On the other end of that stick, though, Cyclops is also just kind of confused with like where he should lie, and he's still in contact with Madeline Pryor, the clone of Jean. Who gives a shit about any of that? Because this was the obviously the massive massacre of Genosha, which, like I said, this sets the tone for the next 5 episodes for the back half of this show, like crazy. But we have an upgraded Master Mold, as well as an upgraded Sentinel Army. They just poop all over Genosha. Thousands killed. There's the big sacrifice of Gambit, which we will talk about, as well as the presumed death of Magneto. Supes, we'll start with you. This is your Genosa episode. This is the massacre. This is the turning point of the season, in my opinion. What were your overall thoughts?
I mean, right now in this moment, I'm just thinking about that moment with Magneto and that kid, man. Heartbreaking.
That's the moment you're taking away, though?
Leech.
That's the moment?
We know the
Tell
moment
him
you're
why.
thinking of right now.
Tell him why.
Leech.
Tell him why,
Look,
Matt.
Like that moment, man, I think it really defines Magneto as a character for the rest of the season because he's fighting for Leech for the rest of the season. And it's not just for Leech, it's for all of the other mutants that died at Genosha. And man, like this was really truly just the turning point in terms of like Charles's ideologies and Magneto's ideologies. Gambit, I'm like a fiend for like love stories within comic books properties. That's why I love the Toby Raimi movies because they're truly like love stories. That's why I love the Andrew films, the OG Christopher Reeve Superman films. And this episode specifically, you know, we had kind of like the culmination of the Rogue and Magneto, Rogue and Gambit love story. And fuck, man, what a heartbreaking way to go out. I mean, I really want to touch on Bodomeo's kind of note that he posted on social media the night that episode dropped, where he was talking about how like that episode was kind of just like a tribute to 9/11 and just the weight of the loss that so many people felt, because that's what these characters are feeling. And art is a representation of what goes on in life. And what a beautiful fucking episode, man. I can't say enough about it. But that's my yap sesh on episode 5. I want to hear you guys talk. I want to hear your
talk about
opinions.
all the moments.
Let's just talk about like, oh my god.
I think minute per minute, this is the best episode of television that Marvel's ever done. It's not even close. Maybe the finale for me. But just like there's just so much in this episode that like just is just compelling, like just so profound, and there's so many memorable lines. Like when I don't know her name, I'm gonna call her Karen, the blonde lady. She goes up to Magneto and talks about the leaders. Damn, I forgot what the quote is exactly. Maybe one of you guys knows it off rip.
We're not going to let the leader of a nation be a terrorist. Well, why do you let so many of your leaders of nations be terrorists? It's the reverse.
Thank you. Love that moment.
Not let a terrorist be your leader, but you let your leaders be terrorists.
Be terrorists, exactly. Yeah, that whole flip on is like, bro, he had the comebacks. Oh my goodness. All right. Someone else talk because there's so many.
Even again, it's this massive episode of this gigantic massacre on an entire island, and the biggest thing that I pulled from this episode, right to Sammy's point on just like these little like moments of just these powerful quotes. Rogue is holding Gambit, and this is like not even 20 minutes after she kind of realizes that like she should have maybe been with Gambit, and then the episode ends with, like Alex just said, I can't feel you. That dude.
Marvel has hit
that
twice.
Romance
I can't feel
that crushed me.
Oh my god, bro.
Which one hit? Which I can't feel you hit you more, WandaVision or this one?
It's definitely this one.
Obviously, this
definitely
one.
this one.
By far. Gambit is a real human.
Sorry, not sorry.
Gambit is a real human.
I'm kind of with that guy on this.
Why is no one
is-
outright just said it's crazy?
This is a good. Marvel has hit twice with the "I can't feel you," and I'm impressed by that because it is a very like. I guess it's not cliche, but it's pretty cliche for a person that can
literally
feel everything.
I feel like everybody forgets this bar because there are episode 5 is the best episode, but it also has the most bars. There's my favorite line in maybe the entire Magneto lines is we will not dwell on the fact that we could have saved more lives. But the way he says it is so good. But I think the best line in the whole show is a Rogue and Gambit line that everybody, for whatever reason, forgets. Remy, you light up everything you touch except for me. Oh my!
It's
God.
also fucking just crazy to see
someone. So good.
Also, I mean, when she dogs him though, like and goes like and dances with Magneto in front of him, I was like, no, introduce right now.
Hold on, they introduced
right now. I was like, Gambit, go to the streets, bro. Like you need something like
no, but they're
let it out. This whole series.
Gambit is such a G. He's like, we'll just be friends. It's fine. Yeah. Even though I would be crying and throwing up at that point.
The cards are always in his favor.
When he pushes Rogue out of the way, or he pushes Rogue out of the way to sit, bro.
Well, hold on. Then they introduced this whole backstory with Rogue and Magneto actually have history, which is just
which hit which
but it
hit.
hit,
They
right?
teased it. They
Bro,
teased it in episode
can I
2,
just
and I was like,
this man Magneto had her doing the Titanic. Paint me like your French girl, bro. That is crazy.
dude,
Jeez,
they
bro.
were
Jessica
teasing that in
Biel, that's
episode 2.
crazy.
They made subtle comments in episode 2, and I was like, are they ever gonna like really dive into that backstory, or are they just gonna keep it ambiguous? And they did in this episode, which made the ending with the "I can't feel you" to Gambit, I think, hit even harder because she was like truly in love with two people, and it was just so
Challengers
gross
reference?
and just so haunting. Oh my god.
I think
So
it's just
emotional.
so worth it, just in the sense that, and what makes this show great is if you're a I'll say comic book fan like myself, where you've never read them, but you're so invested in these movies and you care so much about these characters, and maybe you keep up with a lot of the news and stuff, and just the X-Men Origins Wolverine has Gambit. It's fucking Taylor Kitsch, and all he does is throw these cards, and that's basically the extent of your knowledge of this character. And then I do know like all of the lore of like Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum wants to play this character so fucking bad, and it's been production hell. He's like he at one point, like Gore Verbinski was signed on to direct a movie with him.
100% going to be in Deadpool and Wolverine, by the way.
Yeah, probably going to be in
Guarantee
Deadpool and
it.
Wolverine. Like
Guarantee that.
almost a guaranteed like lock for a cameo. But just like the idea that this character nobody gives a fuck about can be before the series. Don't shut the fuck up.
I'm just kidding. Revisionism.
Lying
Revisionism.
Wait.
Revisionism is in right now, bro.
Whoa.
TASM 2 is good, and so Spider-Man.
I did it because I liked it.
Sammy, talk, Sammy.
I said it because I liked it.
Because I liked it.
Why is everyone beating around the bush? Let's talk about the hardest bar in the show. The name's Gambit. Remember it. Come on. Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's stop it. I get. Let's talk about this stuff. Oh my god, I fucking bawled like a little bitch. I was like talking in our group chat with me and Sammy and Ken. I was like, yo. I was like, Gambit is so crazy. Like, why have we not gotten such like good Gambit content?
Because his thing is the cards. So everyone in movies always goes to the fucking cards, but he can do everything else. And like for a dumbass like
Omega level.
Yeah, for a dumbass like me, as soon as he gets stabbed, I'm like, oh shit, he's dead. That sucks. And then he hits you with the remember it, and he fucking lights up the Sentinel, and you're like, this is over. It's over.
It's over. It's over.
It is Mike Breen double bang.
Bang!
So good, man.
Brother, it's Vince Carter at the
But
slam
it's more
dunk
like you're
contest.
bawling tears when it happens. I literally was like, it was like, fuck. I got shell shocked. I got like that meme of like the military soldier traumatized. I was like,
can we talk about a moment?
I want to talk
five
about
episodes in, I Gambit's
like,
dead.
a moment right before that, though.
I want to talk about the post-credit scene so bad, bro.
Okay, hold on. Wait. We'll get there. We'll get there. I want to talk about that moment. I want to talk about that moment with Gambit and the Morlocks, because they do something good. So in the comics, Gambit actually sells out the Morlocks, and Alex is about it. So what they do here is he actually saves them, and they flip it on its head. It's so fucking good. They give like a reverse moment of redemption for Gambit in this episode.
This show,
This
so crazy.
Throughout it.
So good,
Throughout this show, you are understanding, if you're not a Gambit fan, if you're not an X-Men fan, you are understanding that like Gambit has a troubled past with crime. He has done things he regrets. Well, in many comics, the thing that he regrets is he is responsible for essentially Genosha of the Morlocks. And in this show, you get to have him save them. And it's like this redemption arc. It's almost like Andrew Garfield saving Zendaya in No Way Home. It's like his redemption for something that he messed up in another universe. It was amazing.
Yes.
I'm getting goosebumps again.
didn't even
I'm
talk
really
Oh my
getting
god.
goosebumps.
Anyone else have chills? I have chills.
I'm getting goosebumps all over my body right now. It's actually absurd.
I'm also a little aroused. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Also, I know that none of you, I don't know if any of you guys know that, but the name's Gambit, remember it, is a line. It's a reference to other episodes of X-Men 97. So it was like, it was a callback. It was the first real callback to the original show, insinuating that even though obviously it is the same continuity, it is the same universe, and there are other obvious like connecting things, that was like the first one where it was like, okay, these are actually the same characters, at least with Gambit. Obviously they do that in Motendo as well.
And then we'll come back to it, but the the cards are always in Gambit's favor. Being called back in the last episode, I almost fucking cried for a character. I didn't give a shit.
I did. I was a bitch. I'm gonna say it. I've not bawled like that in a minute. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
I mean, they made him Cyclops. They made
back in this episode, but we don't have to talk that yet. Like Cable's sent back, and it's talked about later, right? Is this situation that Cable can never undo? Like he can go through time in any way, shape, or form, but he can never undo Genosha, and that's
The
just like
point.
that's just
Yep.
Huh?
It's a canon event.
The absolute point, yeah.
absolutely.
It's a canon event. It's a canon.
Fuck these
event.
canon
Yeah, it's a
events.
canon
I love
event.
that.
Canon
Bro,
event.
I love that moment too of him going up to Madeline Pryor because he knows that that's his mom. And can you just imagine just over and over again? Because I think we find out later on he tries to do it like 200 times or so. Can you imagine just having to see your mom live her last moments like 200 straight times? Like that's just fucking crazy to me. Like it's those little moments, like we said. Like it's fucking insane how good the show is.
It's very reminiscent of the
Yo, I want to interject real quick.
I'd love it.
Watch the fourth quarter of this.
It's a good game, I know.
Is it actually a good
Fourth
game?
quarter game,
63-65.
going fucking crazy. The Wolves just came
Wolves
back
coming
down.
back, bro.
Oh, they're only
Yeah,
down like
Ant-Man's
4
a king,
points?
apparently.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna watch this fourth quarter and then I'll join back up.
This is real hoops, by the way. 60 points.
I'm
going into
watching.
the third
I'm
quarter
watching
or
on
fourth
my
quarter.
phone, so it's okay.
That's real hoops.
I know I got it right here
on
too.
my phone, so it's all right.
All right, let's move on to episode 6. And again, episode 5.
Well,
and
Any last thoughts though? Is there anything else in that? I feel like we're missing.
I mean, that's
something.
the best.
Hey, I mean, the biggest thing is that Magneto is Magneto is thought to be dead.
Yo,
that song. Oh, we have to call that back, bro. Making Magneto relive a fucking giant massacre, another Holocaust, is insane. That's just.
Oh, yeah.
But the song in that episode also slaps. Gotta say that.
Real quick, just one second is something that I took away. Obviously, we're into spoilers, so I feel like I could say this. Obviously, we know that Magneto survives this. They don't explicitly say how or why he survives it. Leech, the little green alien-looking motherfucker, is touching him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Leech's power is that he's literally a leech of a mutant's abilities. Leech is literally the collar in human form. So when the Sentinel says Omega level threat or Omega level mutant eliminated, what I think happened as to how Magneto survived is he was touching Leech, which made him not an Omega level mutant. And that's how he survived, I think. Not that even matters at all, but they don't explain that at all.
I have seen that.
That's a great moment when he's in the force field and like he's saving. Oh my god!
And he says it in German. You see the Holocaust, the flashback. Yeah. I mean,
And this is the moment when Magneto's like, "Yeah, Charles, fuck what you're talking about, bro."
Bro, I've tried so many times, and these humans keep fucking it up. I'm so sick of these guys, bro.
What's the like YouTube rule before you get demonetized?
Also,
can we watch this scene? Like, can I put it on?
Also, before we I know he's
watching it right now,
but like I did not know because I've only seen like bits and pieces of the original '90s cartoon. I did not know Rogue has these powers because she took from Captain Marvel. Yes. I did not know that, so I had to go do my research because I was like, she's a bit strong base level and flying, so I didn't understand that. That was a whole emotional episode that I had to go watch and like understand the context. But that's how the show rewards. Like I wouldn't have known that if I didn't.
That's like one of those tidbits where this show like plays like a really well thought out like legacy sequel, like a Blade Runner 2049 or a Top Gun Maverick, where like it's not explicitly like holding your hand, being like this is what you need to know from the originals, but it also feels very refreshing to like a new generation of audience, but very rewarding to like Sammy, who grew up watching the original X-Men because he's old as shit.
Okay, relax now.
Aren't you like 3 years apart?
Acknowledge me, nephew.
We'll move on to episode 6, Life Death Part 2, which also kind of plays out 2 different stories. The big story being where we are thrown into the Shi'ar and Kree Empire's little war. And within that war, it's obviously revealed that Empress, what's her dumb name? Lillian? Whoever the Empress is, she announces her engagement to Charles Xavier. Woo, back alive somewhere in the cosmos. Lillian, whatever her name is, the Empress, her sister super doesn't like Charles because he's a Terran. He's of Earth, so he basically she invokes the right of Madasha, which basically says, Charles, you need to completely wipe your memory of all of Earth. Like prove that you are entirely loyal to our Shi'ar empire and erase everything. Charles basically says no, and a big war breaks out. I thought this part was so funny. They start fighting because Charles said no to like wiping his memory, and then instead of fighting back, Charles basically like literally sits them down in a classroom. He literally clowns them. He's like, "Yo, like I'm the professor here. I'm daddy. I'm a philosophical man. We're not going to fight. You're just going to listen to me talk about coexistence for an entire episode," which I thought was absolutely awesome. He eventually has a, I don't know how this works for Charles Xavier. I don't know if it's like a vision or a premonition, but he sees Gambit die, which obviously has him heading back to Earth and completely not wiping his memory. And then other end of this episode, you have, we're back with Forge and Storm and Adversary. Sammy mentioned it earlier. Scary, like some really frightening sequences, like complete pitch black dark, and then this bitch's eyes open, and it's like it's very unsettling because you feel like you're being chased by this giant owl.
He bites Forge like on the like that.
Yeah,
like ayahuasca
parasite virus.
To know yourself.
It bites him, poisons him. Really, this was and which is crazy to say given just how well this entire show is animated. The scene where Storm regains her powers, I thought was like the coolest thing in the world. Like it was rivaling like my excitement for like when Thor entered Wakanda.
I knew you were about to say it.
No,
I agree.
I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with that, George. I thought you were gonna go.
Nah.
I knew he was gonna say Thor and Infinity War because that's like
Dude, I swear, like that was my excitement. I was like, dude, she's so fucking back right now, and like
we are so back.
She's got two,
good adaptation. Good adaptation.
Thanos. Yo,
Not Superman, but good adaptation.
Oh yeah, I forgot Alex hates Man of Steel.
I hate Man of Steel. That shit is garbage. So
hey man, Cook. Honestly, it's mid.
In terms of, I just want to talk about the Charles Xavier side of it. Deathbird, the sister, she's in the comics a bunch. She's kind of like a little bit of a space Hitler. She just wants all the power. She wants to kill everybody. She doesn't rock with anybody. So it was cool seeing her and seeing that portrayed. But I think that that Professor X half of this episode is the most Professor X thing that I've ever seen in any continuity of any show or any movie or anything, because it's him like sitting everybody down and having an intellectual discussion where he's like, look, I'm the best dude ever. Like, look at me. I can do this. I'm so powerful, but I choose not to do this. And I choose to do this for education. There's that half of it. And then while he's doing that, he faked his own death to go fuck somebody across the galaxy and was responsible for the genocide of his own people. That is so Professor X that he's like great and cool and like seems like the nicest guy, but he made one decision that cost like everybody their lives.
That's
brother.
So,
It's rivaling great character moments.
He's
Like
literally Jake Sully.
Great comparison. But like,
went to
I
go
agree with
slap
him.
some alien cheeks, bro.
But like, you agree with Jake Sully? You're fully.
This Professor X legitimately feels like the best of Patrick Stewart's Professor X and the best of James McAvoy's Professor X coming together, where he feels very reserved, very philosophical. He's going to talk his way out of everything like Patrick Stewart's Professor X, but at the same time, he feels very like he's still like a slightly immature Professor X. He's like he's not just like there to the Patrick Stewart point, but he's not as immature as James McAvoy's Professor X. And hack guy Alex, I would love to hear your thoughts on this because I know you're a big comic book reader. The entire time, like Professor X's introduction, my one thought going through my head was I could see people who aren't familiar with X-Men comics very much like opposed to this version of Professor X because of how different he is from like a Patrick Stewart's Professor X. Like anyone that watches this with no prior like comic book knowledge is probably like, this is such a wildly like different iteration of this character. What are we doing, without realizing that it is like very comic accurate.
So actually, I have a really interesting perspective about this because I got to watch this show with my girlfriend Rachel, who before we started dating, she had never seen any MCU movie, any Star Wars movie, any superhero movie really at all. I think she had seen Deadpool 1, and that's it. So I got to show her all of the X-Men movies very recently, like in the last 2 years. And so her only perspective of Professor X was literally James McAvoy and Sir Patrick Stewart. So seeing her reaction to episode 6, who she thinks her favorite Professor X just isn't in the show. I was like, yeah, they killed him in the last episode of the last show. Like, she doesn't, it did take her a moment where she was like, oh, why would he do this? Like, this isn't the guy I like, because you're right. This isn't Patrick Stewart. This isn't James McAvoy. It does feel like those characters wouldn't leave their students for anything. Doesn't matter who they love. So I actually got to watch this show through her lens as well, not understanding that, you know, Professor X is kind of a really selfish guy, and he's also a big idiot. He's not like even a Mr. Fantastic who maybe makes a lot of right decisions but is an asshole about it. Or he's not Caesar from Planet of the Apes, Apes Together Strong, who's just always right. He's not that. He's a very fallible leader. He makes a lot of bad decisions that gets his people killed and hurt. And that's kind of the great juxtaposition with him and Magneto.
And Magneto says it all the time.
He's always right. And Charles, it feels like, is always wrong. But at the end of the day, Charles is just a better dude. Like, and that's why we're kind of following him. And so I got to see that. So that's interesting that you brought it up. I do think that this show lost a lot of people on episode 6 because of that. And when I gave this show its score of a 9 out of 10 on tomorrow's episode of the podcast, I was thinking about moments like this, where I was like, this show isn't perfect. I can't give it a 10 out of 10 because, like, I think they lost a lot of people with the reintroduction of Charles Xavier. And that's why, to me at least, I know that we're going to get into this later, episode 6 is the second worst episode of this show because of that.
It's just a wild change of pace. And if you're not familiar with Professor X outside of like Patrick Stewart's iteration, you're going to be caught off guard. You're like, damn, this is supposed to be like my philosophical hero. And now he's kind of like this, like,
going on vacation.
Absolute. Like, just going on vacation after committing genocide.
What's that line that Magneto says to someone, like, while they're drinking coffee about, like, or I forget, I don't know if it's while they're drinking coffee, but like Magneto says to someone about, like, now you're learning the lesson of, like, Charles is, like, not perfect or something like that.
Yeah.
They constantly, like, reiterate this point.
Yep.
And I'm like, God, like, can y'all, like, lock in? Like, Magneto's been spitting this entire time. But this episode was cool because Gladiator was mentioned and seen. I was like, cool, nice.
I was hoping someone would bring it up.
And he didn't get messed up. Like, he didn't go out like a bitch.
He was there.
He shines. It was cool.
He was there for a little bit, but it mattered a lot to me.
Oh man, Impact that club or Time at Club, Impact that club. Literally that mean.
Literally.
Insane. Vulcan cameo. They jingled keys too. Sorry. Shout out Vulcan.
A lot of Easter eggs. All right, let's move on because we're kind of getting into the fuck around and find out part of this show. Episode 7. I want to start by saying my man Logan, I think, drops the hardest line of the entire show at the beginning of this episode, where he says, grief is a lonely war. Didn't know he had that in him. Didn't know he had that type of, soul inside of him. Alex is going to do some dumb shit. I just know it. But all right. Episode 7, I kind of was taking notes as I was watching all of these episodes through, just because I wanted to have talking points for this podcast episode. My first point of this episode is Roberto's mom is a scumbag. Because Roberto's mom is a scumbag. She is not accepting her son. She wants him to hide his powers because it'll affect like her campaign trail. I don't know if they made it clear if she was like on a mayoral trail or a presidential campaign trail, but she's on some sort of campaign trail.
It's shareholders.
Oh, okay.
They don't want to scare the shareholders. Yes. Okay.
Fair. But yeah, so the episode opens at Gambit's funeral, and the obvious omission of Rogue. Rogue is kind of on, I don't want to call it a revenge tour, but she is obviously very, very hot-headed, and she has been since losing Gambit. So she's trying to search for Trask and Guy Ritchie. I wish Cam was here because obviously we're going to talk about the Captain America cameo.
Wow. He spawned.
Perfect
Holy
timing.
shit.
Perfect timing. Captain America cameo.
Oh yeah, nice fucking going Patriot, bitch boy, Boy Scout of America,
Frisbee
Howard.
boy.
Salute that bitch. What's
I
going, man?
I can't believe I went. Obviously, I literally finished this show like 3 hours ago before we recorded this pod. I can't believe how much I did not get spoiled on Twitter. I mean, like good shit. Like I had no idea Captain America was in this show. I got none of this shit spoiled.
I got spoiled by SammyJReacts like once.
Wait, did we go
What are
into
you talking about?
I
put spoiler warnings.
Wait, while I was
You
gone,
have
did
him
we,
in the
go, did we go
corner.
into Cap's cameo? Did we talk about that?
No, Walter. Let me finish the
'Cause
episode.
I have things to say about that cameo.
All right, so let me finish the episode. So we get the Captain America cameo while Rogue is trying to find Trask and Guy Rich. Guy Rich, there's this is our first introduction, or this is the first time we see Bastion, and he's murdering Guy Rich. So pretty don't fuck with me kind of introduction. He's really setting the stage early. Rogue kills Trask. They kind of infiltrate this area where they find out that there's this like highly advanced Sentinel program, and when they're there, again, Rogue very hot-headed since the death of Gambit. She throws Trask off a building. Such a cool scene where it's like the slow motion of her letting go of his jacket. I thought that was beautiful. But unknowingly, she obviously awakens. I don't know what they called it in the show, but like mega human Sentinel hybrid Trask. Cable comes in, saves the day, and basically warns the X-Men that there's something coming, which I believe he's talking about Bastion in that moment. And then it is revealed that Magneto is alive, being held by Bastion. Again, another just so frightening introduction. He's shaving Professor X and just monologuing the shit about how Professor X just is such a bitch in that. Magneto is just such a bitch in that moment. But all right, that's episode 7. Alex, talk about Captain America. I know you want to.
I just want to I have to get this out of the way. It's one gripe. Like they make Cap such a Boy Scout. Like he is so not this pro-government guy, and I don't know why they forced him to like be like against Rogue entirely.
Captain America. It's like the.
But I feel like, and
makes-
we'll get
it
into
kinda
this
makes
later.
sense.
They did a good job of showing Cap in episode 10
Yeah.
on how he is there. So I didn't get that feeling at all. I kind of got that they asked him to go over there, and he's just kind of running.
I feel like it was just like off the cuff. Like when I first see him, I'm like, damn, like this is like really Steve Rogers. Like this is the guy that's like fully advocate. Let's do this by the book. And I'm like, I don't know. I just felt.
How would it look if Captain America, Mr. Blonde hair, blue eyes, stomped out a couple Mexicans? Like it would look kind of crazy.
It makes sense in the later context of the episodes, but I was like, when I first introduced him, I'm like, damn, like really? I don't like that. I feel like he's not fully by the book entirely, especially.
Well, Rogue like lived up to her name in this episode. She went full on Rogue,
and she
just
did he ever get the frisbee back? Did we ever get confirmation?
We need that clip of him looking for it. He got it back, unless he got a new one.
That is a funny idea for a clip. Is just him going looking for it.
Him walking.
him going into the mountains and checking out where he is.
Skill issue, old man.
Like, yo, where did she launch my shield, man?
I want to bring something up real quick. We just talked about the baddest bitch in this entire show, which is Goblin Queen. I do want to bring up the second baddest bitch in this show, which is Rogue with wet hair. Oh my
god! Look up Rogue with wet hair. Like that's a beautiful.
No, I literally I'm on Disney Plus. I went through the episode.
Oh.
Okay? I wanted to get the right thing, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
I
could
mean,
you send me that image, bro?
no,
where'd you
I
get
got
that?
you.
Where'd
I'm
you get that?
sending it in the group chat right now.
For free?
But like, dude, that was doing something to me.
She's the greatest. She's the greatest woman of all time in the show. By the way, it's not even a debate.
Oh yeah,
it's her show.
Fantastic. I think. Never mind. I won't go back to it. But I had a point back on episode 5 again. Just because I think what's great about this show is it gives you the X-Men that you're promised, right? And X-Men in comics make stupid. They all have Hulk smash. They all have it's clobbering time. They have some dumbass lingo that they use, which is really cool when you're 10 years old and you're reading it, and flame on or whatever it may be, or the cards are always in my favor. And I think what this
so
show
cool.
does is it writes these characters to the point where if I'm watching this movie or this show or whatever it is, and it's really, really shitty, I'm like, why the fuck are they making Gambit sit there saying the cards are in my favor? Or, I see your bet and I raise it. That's really fucking stupid. And this show just does such an amazing job, like giving you character moments and then also being like, yeah, we're gonna pay homage to what these characters would actually say, because Gambit's a big weirdo who would always talk in gambling terms or whatever it is. Like that's his thing. He's funny like that, but it works because you care about these characters, right?
And also to just quickly piggyback off that, like to your prior point saying like big actors in these roles probably would have phoned this in, to be honest. Like I'm kind of glad that they actually got actual voice actors to do this work, because their delivery is incredible.
Yeah.
Are some of them the same from the original cartoon, or do they have different?
I think it's all new, but they brought back the original Jubilee for the 4th episode.
I was wondering, is the Rogue one original? I was wondering if she was too, or no, she's new.
No, it's a lot of new people. There are some old people, but it's
because I was like, I saw, it was like a mix of, but like maybe
is it a crazy take, and I kind of missed the Xavier returning take or episode. I don't love the Xavier voice actor.
No, really, Ross Marquand.
To me, my X-Men.
Yeah, I think he just kind of sounds a little weird, but that's probably because I'm just used to Patrick Stewart, right? Yeah.
I'm used to James McAvoy,
whoever it may be, and I think they just like I don't know. He's kind of nasally. He's a nasally voice, which is fine. I don't love it, but
what did Nightcrawler say in the beginning of this episode? I can't remember the exact quote when he's at Gambit's funeral, but he says something of like his blood was bad or something like that. I love that moment too. I just had to shout that out. Like when he says about what Rogue. By the way, we haven't talked Nightcrawler, and I love Nightcrawler. He's been my favorite X-Men for a long time. Go ahead.
Number 1 in this show for bars is Magneto, obviously. Number two is Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler has some freaking bars in this show.
What does he say? What's that line that he says when he's like, what Rogue's going through at the funeral? Does anyone remember? Well, he has a great line at that funeral, because Rogue's missing, obviously, because she's going to fucking bust military things. I don't want to make you guys go through the episode immediately, but you guys seem to be doing it already.
Wolves up 5, baby. Sorry, that's all.
Nightcrawler gets his shine. Nightcrawler is great. We need more Nightcrawler in our life. I just keep flashing back to the X2 scene. I really hope the MCU does him justice.
Yeah, and I think it's such a fascinating character too, just being this religious guy who thinks everything he's done is a sin, right? And they do a really good job with that in X2. Horrible job. They throw this, they like basically shart that idea out in the prequel X movies. Or X-Men movies. But just like, it's a really fascinating character that they dive into in this show, but they give you the respect also that like, you probably know who Nightcrawler is enough. You don't need a full-on episode to get the backstory of Nightcrawler. You just see and it's also nice. I like that this show, like, and it's just a staple of animation versus live action. It has all the X-Men at the start, and like you get them from start to finish, right? And you lose them basically as you're going, rather than like in one movie in X1 we're gonna get this team, in X2 we get this team. You add Nightcrawler, you add this person or add this person. I like that it starts, and so you have these small moments layered throughout the first 5 episodes with these characters, to where like by episode 6 you're all in on them, or episode 7, and you actually care about them, versus like if it were a movie or show, I feel like they'd add characters in each episode to be like, oh, there's the shock reveal, just for more money.
Nightcrawler also, before Sammy, the moment I just realized this episode where it isn't this where Nightcrawler, or is this maybe the next episode, but Nightcrawler consoles Rogue, is it the next one?
Yeah, that's this.
Oh, no.
Is this one? Because there's just I'm just back to Glazing Nightcrawler. There's so many great little moments when he's like, he's hugging Rogue and consoling her as like, sister. Like, it's just great character. I just wanted to throw that out there.
In his eulogy, he says that like, how could Gambit, who's so tuned to potential, not realize his own? And then says, I think he was bluffing. Every gambler had to tell modesty was Gambit. Are you?
Motherfucking bars.
Like,
that's what motherfucking bar. Nah, I can't.
In episode 5, within 5 lines, Gambit. He's talking to Gambit, and he says something about love, and he's like, "Love is weighted by how much we're willing to forgive of the other person."
He's
like,
a poet.
Bro, there's no
He's
way you're pulling
Edgar
these out.
Allan
Just
Poe
look these
in
up.
blue, in fucking immune form. He's him.
Dude, he's
So good,
Guys,
man. I love Nightcrawler.
I've said this a million times. I've said this in every TikTok live that anybody's asked me. I've said this a million times. My favorite X-Men has always been Nightcrawler. He's not the best. He's not the best
love you
written.
so
He's not,
much right now.
You know, whatever. But I
Wait,
just
is
love
that
him.
everyone's?
I love the swashbuckling Nightcrawler comics when he's a pirate. I love everything Nightcrawler. And this show really feels like the best adaptation of the character that I've loved all my life that we'll ever see. I mean, everything. I mean, you give him the bars, you nail the religious aspect. He's not, you know, there are some in X2. I love X2. I love X2 partly because I really love Nightcrawler in it. But in X2, they really kind of hit you over the head with the religious thing. They don't in this show. It's like an added touch, which is much more what it is in the comics, much more how he is in the comics. The fight scenes, I mean, everything, just everything Nightcrawler is incredible. And I know that we're not at this episode yet, but the fight scene with him and Wolverine saving Rogue from the Prime Sentinels is probably my favorite.
It is awesome-tacular.
So
that is how I feel.
MCU, Marvel Studios, whatever. Seeing swashbuckling Nightcrawler, something that I've never read in a comic, having 3 swords, one with his tail. Oh my God.
Bro,
And
we
the
get
bar,
to see
and the bar,
a
Wolverine's
POV
like,
vamp?
yo, I got 6 reasons why.
reasons.
And then you get
No, my
Nightcrawler
friend.
coming in. Yo, you got 9
I didn't
actually.
even know about
Yeah.
swashbuckling. I just like the fact that like I saw him with the swords and I was like, I recognize that, but I don't know why I recognize that. It's just so sick. It's just so dope.
And then we see a POV Bamf. Like, are you kidding me?
It is so cold. Still,
All right,
though, I'm
let's
still
move on.
wondering, where is
One last thing I wanted to mention earlier was I know I kind of shitted on like prominent actors being like really bad voice actors, but I think Theo James as Bastion is actually really good. Like he kind of cooked his Bastion.
Wait,
Was
that's
that
I
Theo
didn't
James?
realize he
Theo
was
James.
James.
Yeah,
I didn't
realize that.
From
Yeah,
Bad
he
Bird?
kind of cooked. So I do want to, kind of backtrack. Some actors.
Oh, that
get-
went
yeah,
completely
that's
over.
Wait,
my
he's
head.
from Divergent, right? Or am I faded?
Yeah.
What is
He's
he was
the
just in
chiseled-
Ungentlemanly
chiseled jaw.
Warfare, I think. Or no, he was in that show, The Gentleman. That's what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, let's move on to Tolerance is Extinctions Part 1, 2, and 3. We'll take it episode by episode, obviously, but it's good to know that it's like one entire arc. Which, and this is just me personally. This should have been 1 hour and a half episode. That's my maybe hot take of this episode. I think that those 3.
Dude, you watched it today. You watched.
I know I did watch it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, no need for the cuts of the episode. This would have been such an insane final, like hour and 45 minutes altogether.
Fair.
No, George, no. I'm not going to let you finish that. I come from a debate show. Our entire shtick is yelling at each other. I'm going to yell at you here.
I think we failed having
because you aren't
Alex
a
on
comic.
this.
This is because you aren't a comic reader and you didn't watch the show previously. The
Oh,
to be continued week to week are so fucking important. We end episode 9 with freaking Magneto being stabbed potentially fatally, we don't know, and Magneto ripping the vibranium out of, the adamantium out of Wolverine's skin, and you wanted that to continue within 5 minutes later. You wanted
Immediately.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
You got to sit on that bad.
Your opinion is
Let that marinate. Let that
say.
marinate.
No. In the words of the 45th president of the United States of America, you're wrong.
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 Turn
those lights off. You're right.
I'm just
I'm
now
gonna
learning
come.
that. I didn't know that. I'm just now learning that. I
right.
think we failed as a podcast having Alex Hat Guy on this in an episode we all agreed. Because that right there, Alex cooking.
Wait, I need to know the rundown.
Episode 4 was the closest we came.
It's okay. We'll get to more debates where
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Hat Guy will
like
get
it. I like
significantly more involved in yelling at us. All right. Tolerance is Extinction Part 1. This is like the big, we find out about Bastion's backstory, which I think this is having Bastion as like the main villain of this show, I think was such an ambitious, like let's take a character that like most people do not know about nor care about, and let's make him like the most important thing you'll be thinking about for the next month. It feels very having Scarecrow as the villain in Batman Begins as opposed to Joker. Like, we're going to introduce this world and we're going to focus on our characters. So we're not going to give you the big bad just yet, but we're going to give you someone who is going to hold your intrigue entirely. And I respect the shit out of this show for diving into Bastion's backstory. I think they could have easily glossed over that, and I don't think I would have reacted. But the fact that they took their time to really like set his story and just make his journey feel more impactful, respect the shit out of it. This is where, and we mentioned it earlier in the episode, that the Genosa massacre is like this absolute point, a canon event, if you will. And Bastion basically wants to use it to start this 300-year war. And this is pretty much where each one of these episodes in Tolerance's Extinction Part 1 has like a finale feel to it. Has like this big moment where you're like, holy shit, like the season could end right there. And it felt like perfect. The big one of this is Magneto basically causing this massive blackout, shutting down the world, killing thousands of people. This is where his ideologies start to kind of flip-flop from like episodes 1, 2, and 3. Obviously they flip-flopped episodes earlier, but this is where you kind of really see like, okay, he's at a point where he's truly fed up. He's not fucking around. And this is also a point where you're kind of like, and there's one person in the world that can calm him down, and his name is Professor Xavier. So that's pretty much episode 8. Kind of the start. The school gets burned down. Big note. Sammy, we'll take it to you to kick off Tolerance's Extinction Part 1. What were your thoughts on this episode?
I don't know if we want to just. Should we just bundle?
Do we want to do all three together?
As one?
Yeah, as like
I highly recommend it.
Okay. So then let's do that. So let's just.
And he's a pro. He's a pro up here.
Yeah. All right. So my big thing with these last 3 episodes is like, it's gonna be a weird comparison, but maybe not. It's literally Age of Ultron, but really, really good.
Dude, I said that when I was like, dude, they're Age of Ultroning us right now. That's what they're doing.
Bastion, I mean, obviously the voice kind of helps, but he had that Spaderism to his voice where he sounded like a robot as well. Like he's basically Ultron, but instead of hating all of humanity, he just hates mutants. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. It's like Age of Ultron, but really, really good. But yeah, man, this episode, I mean, this entire like 3-arc crazy cliffhanger after crazy cliffhanger. I mean, they just hit it with emotional damage. They were like, "Oh, you didn't get enough last episode. Here goes 6 more for you." You know what I mean? Like, here go 2 more for you. Like, they were just, it was insane. Like, ending off with Magneto ripping the adamantium out of Wolverine is just insane. And then obviously, comic readers know where that's going to lead to in the future, like on 2 fronts. Like, there's 2 things that are probably going to happen after that.
And people that watch like videos on it, like
and what? Yeah. No, my bad, Cam. I don't want to leave y'all out.
I got that in my bag. You know?
But if whoever wants to step in, go ahead, step in, because my brain is scrambling. Like, I'm trying to stick like this order from episode 8, 9, 10.
So
you go, Alex.
Here's a perspective if we're bundling these last 3 episodes. The first 2, I think, benefited greatly. Obviously, was my argument against George. Is that the first 2, part 1 and part 2, I think benefit greatly from the episodic nature of them, but I think it hurt the last episode 10, as a finale, because you leave on such a tremendous cliffhanger at the end of episode 9 that if you did anything episode 10, it probably would have disappointed people. And I think starting episode 10 as quietly as they did, like just that Charles is just in Magneto's mind again.
No,
like,
but that's awesome.
And they play it as a flashback, but it's not a flashback. Like doing that, even though I think that's great, that's still going to disappoint some people. So to George's point, against my point, that definitely upset some people starting episode 10, not seeing some crazy shit going on. But overall, I think that episodes 8 and 9, I think are really well structured, really flow well. I think the cliffhangers are well earned. They're deserved. They're exciting. Episode 10, I think there are 2 C words I would use to describe it. Choppy and convenient. I think episode 10 is one of the worst episodes of this show. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. It's a very good finale episode. But a lot of the stuff that happens feels convenient, and a lot of the decisions that are made are rash, don't feel as earned as some of the other decisions. Just considering how patient this show had been through 9 episodes, I was kind of surprised how rushed I felt the finale was. I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Just to your earlier point, you went against your argument. I'm going to kind of go against my argument now with the episodic feel. I love that they ended episode 8 on such an insane, like, adrenaline high.
Dude,
Magneto got stabbed. He's ripping adamantium from Logan, and you're kind of like, holy,
that was 9, right?
fuck, like,
That's 9.
that was
9. You said 8. That's 9.
Oh, that's 8. My bad.
8 is
8 ends with him
blackout.
turning off and
8 ends
blacking
with the
out the
blackout.
world.
And all the crazy cameos. Spider-Man.
Wait,
Yeah,
did we talk about
but the end of episode 9, you're on such a high, and the show basically in the beginning of episode 10, this is where I actually do like episode 10 as a finale. They're like, yo, you're on such a high right now. You're going to stay on that high. We're going to hold you, and you're not going to like find out what's going on in that time. And we're going to remind you just how emotional these characters can be, just how like sympathetic and empathetic these characters truly are. They're not just doing this shit for the sake of doing things. This reminded me heavily of Days of Future Past, where you get that face-to-face of James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart, and it's in the middle of chaos, and they bring these characters back to earth for you. And it's, again, Sammy said it at the beginning of the episode. We've been saying it about Spider-Verse. It's these smaller, intimate moments that just make this show so goddamn good. Before we get to like the finale, was Iron Man in that room?
Yeah. Yes.
He was.
They were on their hands and knees for the government. It
Are
was
we on
insane.
episode 9 or 8? What are we on?
We're doing 8, 9, and 10.
all three
Are
together.
you talking about the White House, like in the Oval Office?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, it was like
No,
such
the
a quick
Avengers-
flash.
The Avengers are the Secret Service. They replaced the Secret
Yep.
Service.
Yep.
Okay.
That's leading to something else, by the way.
I don't want us to
Avengers
jump
versus
like
X-Men.
I don't want us
Probably.
to
Season
jump
3
all the
probably,
way to
No,
episode 10. On episode 8, I think episode 8 is one of the better episodes, maybe not the best. I think I personally think I might like it more than 9. I don't know about 10, but I think episode 8 has the best of almost all 3 cliffhangers. It's a perfect example of why you can't do this story in live action. You can, it'll just look dumb. You cannot do the entire world blacking out and the Magneto manipulating the tectonic plates of the earth in live action. And that's just what I go back to. And basically every point I make today is like, this just looks so cool. And it's so awesome to see this. And I'm going to be so fucking mad when in 2 years, when I hype myself up for an X-Men movie. And then it's not this. It's not going to be.
Cam, when you say they can't do it in live action, do you mean like the fact that you see like the Marvel universe like outside, like that whole
I mean,
aspect,
like they
or,
can do it.
that-
It's not going to
do
be
it,
as
yeah.
good.
No,
It's not going to be.
I think it also
not going to be this, and it's not going to be as emotionally.
That's what I thought you meant.
Benefits from like those like line, like you get visual motifs of like of how his stuff looks, so it looks really cool.
Yep.
Like especially when like him and Charles are going at it, and you see his yellow magnetic lines insinuating
And you
he's
see
doing
Charles
versus
beams
Charles
from his
blue
head, like
beams.
echolocation.
And it just makes for such a visually appeasing like image versus like in real life you couldn't do that. It would kind of take you out a little bit. I don't know if maybe someone could do it, but I don't, you know what I mean? It'd be different.
But you'll never get a Jubilee fighting with fireworks. I've said that already. But like you'll never get Logan getting adamantium ripped out out of his body. That's for sure.
I think you could do that. If you do
That's
some
as
horror stuff, you
R-rated
could
as
do that
you
very
can
well.
get.
It
You
depends.
can, but like at an R-rated,
Maybe not
movie, you can't
PG-13, but definitely R-rated. It could look really good.
Yeah, that's fair. But I just like I think just the colors and the way this is played is so good, and you get these Prime Sentinels, and you're like, how the fuck are they going to stop it? And then it's almost like Bastion like ruins himself here by revealing that Charles is still alive, because that's when the Wolves are going to win. That's crazy.
I literally like had that in a parlay.
Ant-Man's that guy. Bastion like reveals that Charles Xavier's alive, which sets Magneto over the edge. And that's when Magneto just says, fuck it, I'm done. I'm turning everything off. Like he's not even trying to fight him. He's just turning it all off. Like the world's going dark.
A moment that I really love, I think it's
It's time for me to blow out my candles. My birthday.
A moment I really like is I think it's episode 8 or maybe 9. But I mean, first of all, Magneto in his Speedo is kind of crazy, but they have him nailed up to that X. And obviously that's I mean, for those of you that read comics or watch videos, it's an iconic cover. It's normally Wolverine. I just love that. But the moment of Karen, again, I'm gonna call her, I forgot her name, the government official who kind of fucked everything up by letting Bastion do what he does. She goes up to him and like talks to him, and he just doesn't say a fucking word. You know how disappointed or just like sad Magneto has to be to just have nothing to say? Like that moment to me just spoke volumes without having the volume of that high.
Also, her cool little monologue. You guys already probably talked about it in like episode 8 or whatever, where she's like, "Yeah, Magneto was right." That was great. That was really cool.
It's great
because now shit hit the fan. He's like,
now that also now that I think about it, like when Alex was like, the last episode's a bit convenient. Like, I mean, the Sentinel coming in and saving the day and stepping on Bastion. There's a couple of points where I definitely do agree. I see what you're saying there. I think also I was distracted by the fact that like there's a lot of cool character moments, like with Nathan saying goodbye to Scott and Jean. There's a lot of really cool. The X-Men assembling to stop the meteor from coming down, and like as a family, they're like, together we'll do this, and like it's just really cool seeing them team up and do that because they're clear of the Avengers. There's just a lot of little cool. I mean, Jean becoming the Phoenix. Yes. Who's gonna let her know that the Phoenix is not leaving her? She may have said it, but it's not happening, buddy.
That's awesome.
She got her.
I don't want to shit on episode 10. I think episode 10 is great. And like the moment in the diner with Cable and his parents made me cry.
Dude, we have to talk about me cry.
There is some legitimately great stuff in episode 10, but like you have the Jean just inexplicably getting the Phoenix and then saying it's gone, like, but it's not, obviously, whatever. Right. There's like, that's just a little convenient. Like I said, obviously the at the end of episode 9, the helmet is on Charles and Magneto is using his magnetic powers to keep it on Charles. Yeah. How did Charles get it off in order to get into his mind? That never gets explained, so that's a little convenient.
Well, I mean, you could just say,
does the hat stop him
his powers to take it
powers,
off?
Though? Does the hat
the hat goes both ways. It stops Charles from using his powers, and it stops Charles from using his powers on the wearer.
Okay.
It's like lead with Superman. He can't
I get it.
It's covering his eyes or whatever. Yeah. So
see through
so there's that. There's the Sentinel coming in and stomping on Bastion. There's just a lot of, I feel like, convenience. They get, again, it's just, and then Magneto wakes up at the exact moment that the asteroid is going to crash into the world, killing everybody.
Cool moment though when he screams Magneto lives.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I really like. I don't want to nitpick the show that I love so much. I'm telling you, it's my favorite MCU project ever, Marvel Studios project ever. But it is. I was a little disappointed by the convenience of the last
real quick,
episode.
Just to go back, and I should have cut you off before we got away from it. I do want to go back to the most emotional scene, maybe more than the "I can't feel you" is the diner scene of them like going into Cable's mind so that he can see them, right? And then immediately after that, when Cyclops rips off his glasses and the tear is rolling down his eye, that is one of the best. That is rivaling the "What's Up Danger" moment for me in animation of Marvel Studios, not Marvel Studios, of animated movies in general. And if you know me, the "What's Up Danger" scene is possibly the best scene in any movie or any television show ever for myself.
Damn, really?
Like,
I love that.
That is such a small detail that I didn't even notice on first watch, and I wouldn't have noticed on second watch if I didn't see fucking like Twitter Marvel perfect shots. The one tear rolling down his eye as he just lets the Cyclops like eye laser beams rip, right? Insanity. I'm not gonna necessarily fight the other things that guy mentioned, but I wish I took it away before he got off of the diner scene, because I think it's those little character moments that you get and these powers that you get that are the most impressive thing about this show. Like,
and the thing about that diner scene too is like it is a character moment, but it's tough.
It's important.
It's tough to not get into the future, but like that's gonna play like a huge role in season 2. But I just want to say, like, I cried when he said, "I'm proud of you, son," because I had daddy issues.
Last thing, Sinister looked like a ball sack. He ended.
Oh my
Hey,
god!
bro.
I can't believe they
He
made
leaves the show looking like Pennywise in It Chapter 2.
Yeah, you got bullied, bro.
They do the coolest thing in any movie or anything ever where like a robot's wearing a human face and then like gets partially ripped off, or it's like Vader wearing the mask and it gets partially ripped off to where you see the back. They do that in this with Bastion where his face like kind of gets ripped in half.
He looks
and so you see the mechanic behind it, but also the person. Like that's the coolest thing any movie can ever do.
He looks like an Attack on Titan character. Like, and I haven't even seen the show, but he looks like it with his jaw. It's crazy.
He's the archangel of death.
Yeah, but also, can someone explain to me? Why did he have? He looks like Archangel, but like he's not one of Apocalypse's horsemen. I don't know. Someone else.
No, he also has a little onslaught on him too, which will.
I don't know if is that how he looks like in the comic. I don't know.
No, but I do want to say, Bastion ripping off Cable's arm and slapping him with it 3 times is crazy.
Slapping him like a mother that they came over and punished him.
Me personally,
No,
I'm not taking that
I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
I would not take that level. Insanity.
All right, let's talk about the ending because it's going to get into like our next topic of discussion on like what do we want to see in season 2 and even like the future of the X-Men. We've been talking about like cold bars this entire show. I love when Cyclops is like trying to convince Bastion like there's good in him, like come with us. Bastion goes, dude, are you suicidal? Like I just tried to murder you. Why are you trying to recruit me right now? And I think that's just such a funny like distinction between their personalities. Thing blows up and we basically end off worldwide thinks that the X-Men are dead, but it is ended up being revealed that they are just lost in time.
Which, by the way, is probably right because Supes is back, George.
Yeah, adding him.
If you want to add him back in, and this is perfect. This is where Supes not he's shirtless.
Oh, sure.
Now we're in OnlyFans territory. Also, side note, George, you were talking about bars that Bastion says at the end. Remember when like the meteors are like the rockets are about to hit whatever, and he's like. These people would rather die before being mutants or something like that.
Yeah,
accepting us.
Humanity would.
Yeah,
something like
humanity would rather die than accept that.
I think it's worth noting. What's up?
I was gonna say the fact that we didn't even mention Rogue bringing back his name is Gambit. Remember it? And
and then
on the blue side of the moon.
And earlier in the movie, sorry, I mentioned it earlier, but when she hits us with the cards are always in the X-Men's favor. Stupidest line ever, made me cry. I love that shit so much.
I just everyone was like, yeah, let's go.
Damn, I love you so much, Cam.
No, the cards are always in our favor is like such like an obvious quote. Like obviously, like that they would throw it in, but it's like still so cool
because you care about these.
Yeah,
characters.
it's still so cool.
Like cheesiness is fine as long as
about these characters.
And you have to. There's the suspense of the suspense of belief that we have to have that this show still takes place in the 90s. Yeah. This stuff was cool in the 90s.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like every other thing that Jubilee says should be enough to make you roll your eyes when she calls what Beast was working on a doohickey. That is terrible. But because you're selling us on this idea that this is the 90s, it actually kind of works.
Even Rogue, like the way Rogue talks is like very like Cyndi Lauper-esque, which is like this is just the most like 80s, 90s like vibe they could have captured, and it works. And we're in 2024, and it still works.
And the idea, sorry. So what I was saying is, I think here's my theory: is that the reason they've been sent through time is that Bastion obviously had Cable's arm, which takes him through time, right? And he gets pulled into whatever I forget what like the X ship's like power device was or whatever he gets sucked into, right? That's kind of what sends them through time, right? That's my big theory. I don't know if that's necessarily an easy one. We're getting Supes fans.
We should probably talk about how the ending or how it actually ends first before we get into theories, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
But you're cooking with that. I kind of like that take.
And that's why Cable's not able to get to any different timeline because he doesn't have his arm right. But the way it ends right is so Magneto. I'm gonna try to nail this. Magneto, Rogue, Beast, Morph are in the past in 3000 BC.
Nightcrawler and Professor X.
Nightcrawler and Professor X are in. I have Magneto. I had Magneto. They are in 3000 BC.
We do not see Wolverine or Morph in any timeline.
Nope.
We don't see Morph. Okay.
I don't see those
That's
three.
important. That's important.
fine. But they are back where we see Apocalypse in ancient Egypt. He's Namron. Give me the name.
And Sabanur.
And yeah, I would have butchered it, so thank you. And then we get a present day, which is the best part of the. Sorry, no, that's post credit, so I'll wait. We get Jean Grey and Cyclops in the future. They see Cable as the leader of this society, right? And then those are the two different timelines. We only get two, right?
Is Cable? Yeah, that's the part I didn't understand.
Cable, right?
So they
I know it's Cable, but like, is he like their Messiah or something? Like, is he their Paul Atreides?
Well, we have to. Okay, so
Dune 2.
that is a
Lisa,
okay, so the techno organic virus that Sinister gives Nathan in episode 3. That is what his arm is, and he is always using. The reason we never see him use the telekinetic power is because he is using his telekinesis to fight off the virus from killing him. It's only taken up his arm. This Nathan does not have any sort of virus. You cannot tell him it. So this is probably another world Nathan that is just a gifted telekinetic in a world that none of these guys look like mutants. So he is probably
this is after the mutant war,
he's
right?
the only one that's got any powers.
I think this is after all the mutants have been killed off, right? Is kind of what we're getting at here. Supes gave me a thumbs up. I've never been more ball knowledged out of my life.
That's real Hooper shit. Like,
and then we get into the post-credit scene, which is the very obvious Apocalypse. He's on Genosha. He picks up the Queen of Hearts. And that's very obvious to Gambit becoming Death, right? And I like I said, I've watched a lot of theory videos. I think it's a 5-episode comic run or whatever it is, and that people did not like, from what I'm hearing on things, is people didn't like this Gambit as one of the 4 horsemen of Apocalypse. I could be wrong about that. I'm just stealing things from other people, but that's kind of where we're left off. So the big tease is season 2, Apocalypse is coming. And of course he's got to have his 4 horsemen, which, by the way, one of the most frustrating things is that they named this character Apocalypse just so they could give him 4 horsemen, because the old tales of 4 horsemen.
Nah, it's cold. It's cold.
Here's why it pisses me off. Because X-Men Apocalypse sucks. It's because X-Men Apocalypse sucks.
Let's just put it. I know it's probably insinuated at who's going to be the next 4 horsemen, but who would you guys like to see other than Death?
I think it's definitely going to be. I don't know if it's going to be the 3 that are missing. I think Wolverine's definitely going to be one, because now that he has the adamantium strip from his bones, he's going to go feral, which is another mutation that he has.
Berserker.
I don't like
where.
That. Yeah, I agree.
He just completely goes feral, whatever. It's going to lead to him going to Apocalypse to get his adamantium back and becoming I think in the comics he was a Horseman of Death, but I think he might end up being the Horseman of War, since I think Gambit's going to be the Horseman of Death. I don't know if Morph and Storm are going to end up being Pestilence and Famine or not. I mean, it could just end up being Sinister and Bastion again, since they've been Horsemen in the comics before. But I think that's definitely
Sinister and
Bastion. I don't think they would either.
For sure,
they're not gonna rebound.
Yeah.
They're just gonna throw in Psylocke. We saw her for like 2 seconds and throw in Psylocke.
Oh,
Psylocke
again, I might give it.
But
5 out of 5.
that's what's cool about Apocalypse, is that now we can theorize about who's gonna be his horseman, because like so many different characters make so much sense considering the way X-Men 97 season 1 ended.
We didn't see.
I like Gambit and Logan.
It's probably a stupid idea. We did not see. We saw that they were off-world. Wanda and Quicksilver. I don't know if they were ever like horsemen, but we saw they were off-world. That very easily could just be a tease of like they're a part of this, whatever.
So what storylines do we think are going to be in season 2? I think there's 3 major ones, like obviously following the past, future, and then the present. I think it's going to kind of be like Age of Apocalypse, but Ages of Apocalypse. And then
I've seen a lot of things. Sorry, I've seen a lot of things that like in the past Kang is ruling, and the X-Men are going to help Apocalypse take over this because when they get over when they look over to the Egyptian like town, like there's that big obviously temple of future technology, and so I've seen a lot of things that could be like Kang is in the past and the X-Men actually help Apocalypse defeat him, and then Apocalypse takes over. And Jonathan Majors reference, who knows? Maybe they try to bring him back for this.
It's Jonathan Major's face in animation, and it's his voice. And he's like,
And he's in between.
It's just the meme. Yeah, I was gonna say it's just the meme of him stopping people fighting. That's hilarious. Damn, I love that we're on the same wavelength.
All right, but besides what storylines are going to be explored in seasons 2, we discussed at the beginning of the episode how well this season of television establishes like the greater Marvel world. What do you want to see? Do you want them to expand on that? Do you want them to make it this massive animated cinematic universe, or do we want to continue with like more intimate X-Men content?
give us 90s Spider-Man.
I think we're definitely getting Avengers versus X-Men. I don't think that's going to be season 2, but I think it's definitely leading up for season 3.
I think that's live action.
Give Supes
I
the
think they
floor.
said
Give Supes the floor.
I don't think you can do that in live action.
No, I
But
think they
go
save
ahead,
Avengers versus. I think they save Avengers versus X-Men for live action. If they are gonna bounce off of this like animated universe that they've definitely set up, definitely 90s animated Spider-Man, because that was like the only show from like the Fantastic Four animated series, the Hulk, Iron Man, all of that stuff.
We didn't even
Spider-Man-
bring up the MJ cameo. Like she's just back all of a sudden.
No, but that's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Is
Yep.
that like the 90s animated Spider-Man is the only one that left questions about in terms of
I don't-
how it ended.
I can almost
and-
guarantee you they won't bring back 90s Spider-Man because
I
they're
don't
doing
think they
the
will.
no, they're doing
they
the
will.
high school Spider-Man, right? They already have the
Yeah,
animated.
if they want to bring back
series.
Spectacular, if Sony wants to lock in, we can get that dude.
Lock in
Yeah.
on Spectacular.
And
Lock in
also,
on
while you're at
Spectacular.
it, this might be
And we
crazy,
bring-
but if they brought this, this is not happening. But like, I would love to see Wolverine and the X-Men like be brought back too. That's
X-Men Evolution.
No thanks.
Okay, so I had this conversation in the Escape Pod podcast Discord with a fan of ours the other day, and I just wanted to give this perspective if we're talking about general predictions that aren't exact. Where we are going with this season, and how fast-paced season 1 went, I could see down the line as late as season 5 of this show, as early as season 4, maybe even late 3 of this show, we are leading up to exactly where the X-Men are going to be at the time of Secret Wars. That's all I want to say.
Like in live action Secret Wars, or
Is this you predicting a crossover between like the greater live action MCU and this?
It is strictly a business conversation I'm having right now for Marvel.
Yeah.
dude,
They could either bring
But
if this property becomes the most popular Marvel Studios property since No Way Home, as it should be, as we all think it should be, if this property just becomes more and more popular, they do have incentive to bring this property to a movie or
I
a
say
live
this
action,
with a grain of
etc.
salt. If they can,
Or it doesn't do well, and they're just prepping the hardcore audiences for how crazy Secret Wars is going to be. Either way, I see them leading this to a Secret Wars story because it just coincides with what they're trying to do in the movies.
I think
Here's
even
where I disagree with you, Alex.
beyond. Yeah, go Supes.
Here's where I disagree with you. It's just they're not going to have it ready in time for Secret Wars. Secret Wars comes out 3 years.
that
3, 4
movie
years
is not
max.
getting made in
Yeah,
theaters.
I was gonna
that
say
movie
they're probably
probably
just gonna.
No, I
Three years.
disagree.
No,
They are back to the
Bro,
drawing board again.
Avenger. I swear to God, Avengers 5 is rumored to start filming next year. Avengers 5 will obviously lead into Secret Wars.
Yes,
That comes
it's
out
not happening,
It's
3,
not
4
happening.
years.
dude.
I
As
don't
soon
think
as the
it's
Jonathan Major stuff happens,
They have to
that whole-
restructure everything. They don't even have
2023.
directors assigned to these projects. It's cooked.
We could legitimately see we're going to see a date.
Are you going to
for
be at
season 2.
D23?
We're going to see a date for season 2 of X-Men 97 in the next 3 months. I legitimately could
At
see it
D23?
coming up for season 2. I could see it absolutely coming out. Maybe before the end of the year, we get the first episode of season 2 in like December of this year.
Wait.
Yeah.
X-Men
No.
97?
I don't think end of this year.
They
We're
got
not getting it for
Agatha.
2
They got
years, man.
Agatha. They got
No, you're
Agatha.
tripping. You're tripping.
We're not getting. I am almost willing to
Dude,
bet
that's
we
a
do not
crazy
get X-Men
sentence.
97.
We don't want
No.
X-Men. We got Agatha.
We got
No. We're getting
They have a-
X-Men 97.
Hold up.
No.
Hold up.
We're getting
I'm
X-Men
just saying,
97 season 2
I'm
within
just
2
saying,
years.
Oh my God, my franchise is falling off. Agatha. Oh my God.
They gotta release that shit, Alex.
Yo, Kevin Feige, bro.
Think of
go
Hocus
ask
Pocus.
for this.
They're trying to tap into a certain demographic. All right, let them.
No, it's
Of what? Beautiful women. I don't care, bro.
I think if you
Aubrey
take,
Plaza
I
has
think
a
if you
wish,
take
brother.
out your headphones,
What are we
Matt,
talking
If
about?
you take out your headphones, I think your audio will be a little bit clearer. I'll be if you're able to. If you're not able to, that's fine. But Alex, I'm just being honest, like based on how production is and the fact that they're super. Oh, now it's echoey. So you might have to do like plug-in headphones. I don't know. You're good now, but you're muted. Whatever. I think just based on how production is in life, yeah, you're better. It's hard to come out with animation a year. It's the same thing. Invincible, right? When did we get Invincible season 1 versus 2? It's the same exact thing. I don't think we're getting X-Men 97 in 2026.
Kim,
I'll
make the bet with you. I'll make the bet with you.
I
No, in
appreciate
2025.
But have they started recording
until
because it's a matter of
2026.
animation
No, we're
and
not
getting
getting.
the
I'm
actors to
telling you, we're
record
not
the
getting
lines.
X-Men 97 until 2026.
2025, we're getting
bet
that
with
shit.
you.
Fuck that.
think-
2025, we're getting that.
I cannot believe Agatha was mentioned before What If was mentioned, because the entire time I was watching X-Men 97, I was like, this is the exact reason why Kevin Feige and the MCU decided to drop What If, because if they
No,
want
what if
to
season 3 is their next project?
Okay,
That's
Agatha
another
has a date though.
That's coming out
Agatha
soon.
has a date though.
Agatha is gonna
Will we
make
be watching?
Agatha
Probably
might be
not.
watching.
Like, are we really trying to like hype up Agatha
Let's
right
not
now?
talk about
hyping
Agatha,
it up.
bro.
I'm just pointing it out that it has to come out.
Yeah, stop hyping it up. It's ass. I don't want to hear it. No one wanted
In 2
this.
months,
Spinning
in
a lot of
6 months,
wars,
we're gonna
Bob.
get a Supes video.
Hurry the
There's
dog is
3 things you need to know about Agatha and the witch that has a bad wardrobe.
These are the top 5
Things
things
about
why you
Agatha.
should watch Agatha Harkness, Dark List of Lore.
Not a paid
right
ad.
now.
Top
No
five.
one asked
Ranking
for
the
it.
top 5 songs in Agatha Harkness.
These are the
Here's
top 5
3
titles in
reasons Kevin
Agatha
Feige
Harkness
should
history.
shoot you in the
Dark
face if
Hold,
you don't
Witch
watch
of the
Agatha.
Wander.
Coven
How
of
many
Chaos.
words am I going to say when Aubrey Plaza appears? Probably 7.
Oh shit! I forgot Aubrey Plaza's in it. I'm back in.
I'm
back
giving it 1 episode, and if it does not move me, it will
I
not be
DM
watched.
Supes. I DM Supes after Echo was released, and I'm like, how do you make your R-rated show not have fighting in the end scene? We're not getting into this right now, or we can, but they are so cooked in the television universe, man. Kevin Feige
Have
doesn't
they?
get
No,
it.
listen. Have they hit once besides
course
WandaVision is
correct.
cool? And that's
Loki,
course correct.
Loki.
Oh,
He
Loki's
hits.
a banger.
Loki's
Loki's
hit
a banger.
twice.
But how many misses? How many misses?
I thought Loki's.
Daredevil born again. Daredevil born again.
I think Loki season 2 is a
Loki
miss.
season 2 is
Wait,
good.
Alex
So
Hackguy,
even then, so we have a Loki season 1 and WandaVision is cool besides the ending.
Uh-oh.
All right,
Are you-
WandaVision has
are
an
you-
added benefit.
What? What does he do? Oh shit! What the fuck?
literally at his house.
This motherfucker said Loki season 2 is bad.
What
He
in the
said
mo-
Loki
I don't
season 2 is
agree.
bad.
Hey,
What in the
wait till you
multiverse?
ask him what he thinks. Wait till you ask him what he thinks is good, because I think he's kind of cooking. Hey, do you like She-Hulk, Hackguy?
I love She-Hulk.
It's low-key, like, it's not the worst show. Well, it is the worst show, but it's not
like
that
one of the most comic accurate.
No, we're ready. Every time I was jumping off, I was going to celebrate the basketball game with them.
I did not know that, bro. I was like, what?
How
is he not
long
in
have
that
you
room
been
right now?
together?
He's been at my house since the game started.
Why was he not in the room with
Just
you?
say
He
the
was cooking.
square, bro.
He was cooking that pizza in my kitchen.
Why was he not in? Why are you two?
Dude,
not
Alex,
in the
I'm
same
bringing
room?
so much food. I'm gonna bring it
We're
on
gonna
the
save
plane.
this
Dude, hold on.
I'm gonna
For everyone,
Lunch for nothing.
for everyone that's listening to this and not watching this, the entire episode, Alex,
This is the
Hackguy, and
crazy-
Supes have been separated, and we are just finding out that they are about 10 feet apart in different rooms.
This is the biggest twist since like Shutter Island hit the time.
Oh my god! All right, let's. All right, we'll use this as a
Do
transition
not reel us
moment.
back in, you coward.
No,
Do
we're not.
reel us back in.
I am
There's
not
no
reeling you guys
structure in
back
this
in.
show anymore, buddy. This is
What a
wonderful day.
I am going to name TV shows, and you are going to tell me if it is better or worse than X-Men 97.
I
We
love
will-
this. This is a
Alex,
game. We play games on
Alex,
our podcast.
Alex,
We're
I'm
gonna
warning.
start. We're gonna start
warning-
easy, and we'll get progressively
All right, let's
more
go.
difficult.
Let's
all right,
go.
Let's get it.
Moon Knight or WandaVision? I mean, sorry, X-Men or WandaVision?
X-Men.
X-Men.
Okay,
Wait,
X-
time out. I did want to mention this. WandaVision is the only show with a pass on. COVID was brand new. No one knew what was going
Yeah,
on.
that's fair.
And the
No,
last
but, and it's
episode
good.
got
It's
fucked by
cool
it.
until the last
Yes,
episode. It becomes
but the
crap.
last episode is what got fucked by COVID.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
It's fine.
yeah.
It's cool.
Okay, X-Men versus Moon Knight.
X-Men clears solo.
Okay. X-Men versus Loki season 2.
X-Men.
X-Men.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close either. And I love
No,
Loki
it's not
season
close.
two.
It's not close.
It's not close, and I love
Oh,
Loki
this is
season two.
excellent. You guys
It's not
are all
close.
right. This is amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we're going to be on X-Men for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be at it probably.
Here's
X-Men.
the problem. I don't want
The
to.
only show that beats this Oh no, you got it. You
Yeah.
got it.
No.
I feel like we're not here to just have stupid debates like Stephen A. and fucking what's his name? I can't.
Whoa, Escape Podcast
Yep.
shot.
Yo, is that a
Whoa.
shot at
Is that
Escape
a shot
Pod?
at-
No. I said Stephen A. I said Stephen A. I didn't say anything about Alex. Whoa.
No,
Whoa, this
D1
guy's over
instigators.
here pointing a loaded gun at me.
First
and I'm
off, where did you
not
get the
for
claws? Second off, there's only one show that beats X-Men and from Marvel. And when
Don't
you
say
say
it.
the
All right,
correct
let's
thing,
go. I'm
First
just
of all,
saying,
Amazon.
we're gonna agree for a long time.
All right, we're gonna agree for a long time.
No,
And
keep
this is
going,
not
George.
this is not a
Let's
shot.
keep the game going.
Yeah,
Try
this is
not
not
to
a
take any subliminal shots at each other.
No, this is not a shot at any of these TV shows. This is a testament to how good we think X-Men is. X-Men or Peacemaker.
X-Men.
X-Men.
Peacemaker
Okay.
actually stinks,
Peacemaker
I'll
cool
say it.
though.
Peacemaker stinks.
All right. Let's move away from superheroes for a hot sec. X-Men
Wait,
or
no, I was thinking of wrong show. Peacemaker's good. My bad.
Peacemaker is good.
Derek,
X-Men?
Punisher stinks. That's it.
X-Men or season 7 of the Clone Wars.
Wait, time out. I wanted to ask this earlier.
Clone
X-Men
Wars. I'm going
final
Clone Wars.
3 episodes or Clone Wars final 4?
Siege of
'Cause I-
Mandalore. Siege of Mandalore. White.
Siege of Mandalore.
White.
I'm going Clone
X-Men
Wars
Wars.
because fucking Darth Maul Ahsoka slaps.
Yeah.
But wait,
Yes,
wait.
I'm taking
wait.
season
George-
7 Clone
No,
Wars.
no, no.
I'm
George-
taking
Mid
season
Wars.
No, no, no. But George
Mid-Wars.
asked all of season 7 versus all of season 1.
But we
Season
have-
7 has the Rafa sisters arc.
Season
That shit
yes,
sucks.
Yes.
Those 4 episodes would be all
Very
4
season
would be
7.
individually
Yeah, but
the
you're
worst
telling
episode of
me-
X-Men 97.
You're telling me Anakin, like Darth Vader, holding Ahsoka's lightsaber, looking at it? Bro, I might just be biased.
The peak
But
of
season
season 7 of Clone Wars is better than the peak of 1 of X-Men 97.
I
Yeah, but
agree.
it doesn't matter.
I agree.
X-Men 97 wins because of the consistency.
Yeah. If
Yes,
we're going the
X-Men
entire
97
season,
I'm
Mid
gonna-
Wars
wait,
going
I'm gonna be
Mid-
biased. I'm going Clone Wars still. I'm
Mid-
sorry.
No, there's no
Wars.
way. Cool. What are you doing?
I know, but listen, when I literally want, bro,
Those two sisters suck. Those two sisters
this man
suck.
literally holds a
Ahsoka,
lightsaber.
bro. I
to
grew up with
lightsaber,
Ahsoka,
and he's
bro.
like looking up to the sky. He sees the bird that represents Ahsoka, bro, and then he fucking puts it down. Oh my god, it's so tough. It's so it makes me
Bro.
cry, bro.
What is
Clone
this
Wars was my
conversation
introduction
about
to
it?
Star Wars, and like,
Bro,
Ahsoka was my
Rex
girl,
and all
bro.
them fighting back from killing Ahsoka on that ship, bro, because they're turning because of Order 66, bro. Come on, man.
But these are 4 episodes out of a
And
12
the other episodes that are
season.
ass.
Those on
I
end
I
of
noticed
these
you
at this
haven't
point.
mentioned a single thing from the Bad Batch arc. You haven't mentioned a single thing from the Rafa sisters arc. That's 8 episodes.
know.
I like the Bad Batch
Yell at
arc.
me.
I like the Bad Batch. Supes, just get in there with him.
Screw
Mid-
the Bad Batch. I
What
know.
happened?
Mid Wars.
Supes kind of shredded.
all right, let's keep
All
it
right,
going.
let me say tie,
Are
then.
we
I'll
taking our
just say
shirts
tie.
off? We might have to
Let's
take our
keep it
shirts
going.
off. I'll take my shirt.
I'm saying
X-Men,
tie. I'm saying tie.
X-Men or The Mandalorian season 1.
Mandalorian season 1. Mandalorian season 1.
Aw.
Mandalorian season 1.
Not even-
Excellent.
No
Excellent.
way.
Mandalorian season 1 is
No,
the
no, no,
best
no.
Star Wars content we've gotten since Empire.
No, no.
Fuck you
Soup
all.
That's not
says
true.
X-Men slams. Go get your phone off of it.
Andor is better than Mandalorian
No, no,
season
no,
1.
no. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing with X-Men and Mando. There's no episode in X-Men that is worse than episode 4 and episode 5 of Mando season 1.
Cook.
Wait, say that again?
Episode 4 and episode 5 of season 1 of Mando would each be the worst episode of X-Men
I
97.
need to go look at
So
specific.
the lows are
I'm
lower.
not gonna hold you. I'm probably taking X-Men. X-Men.
Exactly.
I'm
You have to take
definitely-
X-Men.
You
I'm
have to
easily
take
taking
X. It's
Because
not even
I'm really
close.
thinking about
Time out,
Mandalorian.
time
I'm
out,
looking
time
back
out,
at it. It was cool.
Time the fuck out, everybody. Put your fucking heads on for a second. Stop making this hat guy's lows of low argument being like, just because the low episodes are lower, that means the show's worse. Star Wars has a much lower.
Matter?
Star Wars has a much lower low than Harry Potter, but it's still a better franchise than
No, it's
Mid
not.
Potter.
No, it's not.
Oh,
No,
you're
it's
It's
not.
not. Harry Potter
No, it's
sucks.
not.
The
Harry
movies
Potter-
are not
yes,
that good.
Yes, Alex.
You're telling
I'm
me
so no. Listen. I know hack
Mid.
guy. Listen, you can agree in terms of person. I've read the books back. I can barely remember most, but I remember
Mid
the
Potter.
books. It's not that good of an adaptation. I really don't like it as compared to like what I read in the
No,
books.
it's not a good adaptation, but that doesn't matter. No.
I don't. And listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like the movies like that. I've been saying this. I think it's so like. Besides, I like Goblet of Fire. I think Prisoner of Azkaban.
All right, we're getting off track.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
not
we're
talking about
gonna
Harry Potter right now.
Harry
All
Potter
right,
as a
let's keep
whole.
going.
Mid.
X-Men or what I think we can all agree is the best season of The Boys, season 1.
My bad, bro.
Oh shit.
Wait,
Season
say
one
that
of the
again?
He
boys.
said the boys.
X-Men or season 1 of The Boys.
I haven't
Well,
seen
the issue
boys.
is
I
with
am
the boys
absent.
is that the show is so good, but it's so stale.
Yeah.
Can I get an RT?
No.
Yeah, but this is season
RT.
1 though. Season 1 is
RT.
really crazy.
It's very good, but it rinse and repeats a lot. But season 1 is crazy.
X-Men
but
season
I would
one-
still take
X-Men
X-Men.
season 1 is
I
comparable
would
to
take
season
X-Men
3 of The Boys, but in terms
I'm
of
really
like
thinking
season
about it.
1 and
I'd
2,
probably say, if you said Boys season 3, then I'd be like
Season
more
2 might be my favorite of the boys.
I might season 2 or season 3. I'd be compelled, but I'm gonna go X-Men. I'll
Season
go X-Men.
2,
I think
dude,
I think
when-
season 1
when
is my
she fucking-
favorite.
When she starts talking about how she's like, it's called white erasure or whatever, and you just get like the pan over to Homelander, and he's like, wait, whoa.
Sammy, your claws, Sammy, your
disagree with
claws
that.
look way better than X-Men Origins claws. Like
No. You're talking.
Actually
You're
hilarious.
talking the Wolverine.
Blame the
when
writer
they
strike.
CGI.
Like how do your claws look better than the movie right now?
Blame the
All right,
writer
let's-
when
strike on that
when they
one.
start sparking, but
All right,
I am
George,
going
go.
with X-Men 97.
Back to
Let's move
We should have like kept
to
count or something.
let's get some movies in here. X-Men 97 or the first 3, the original X-Men trilogy, the films. X-Men
97.
1.
X-Men 97, not even a
Easily.
debate.
Because they do
They
the characters
butchered
right.
Cyclops, they
It's the
butchered
best
Batman.
iterations of
97.
the characters.
97 slams every single movie they've ever done.
Wow.
Days of
Even
Future Past
Days
is
of
close.
Future
Yeah,
Past?
I don't know about this
Logan-
future. I don't know about this future.
Logan's
No, but
better.
here we go.
Logan's
We're going to
better.
get into hot takes here. I take First Class over Days of Future Past. I take X2 over Days
Are
of
you-
Future Past. I take
Are you
Deadpool over Days of Future Past.
Okay.
No!
Alex,
No, no,
Alex,
no.
have you ever thought about getting checked, man?
I could-
Like Andrew seems like a nicer host than me.
I think
because
Days of
I'd
Future
send you
Past
to an
because
asylum.
you're putting
No,
together
you're fucked.
You'd be
the
in an
two
argument.
franchises. You're fucked. No Way Home-ified your brains and made it
No,
seem like it isn't
no,
a boring movie
no,
for half
no,
of
no,
it.
no, no, no,
Sorry.
I'm not arguing with that.
It is not a
We're not talking No Way Home. We're talking X-Men.
No way.
Universe
We're talking
Prime.
about Days of Future Past versus
Yeah.
X fucking
It's
2.
the movie
Like, bro,
where the player that
Dude,
the
you
person
haven't
that
seen
can't be
X2 in a while.
75.
X2
Listen,
listen, I like X2.
Me
I
personally-
really like- but it's not better than Days of Future Past.
Me personally, I'm not having a Matthew Vaughn film above a Bryan Singer film. That's just me. Even
Also,
though
did
Bryan
he say
Singer's
wait,
a
you
piece
said
of
First
shit.
Class over
Me
that? Like, listen,
personally,
honestly,
no.
First Class is
Fuck Bryan
First
Singer.
Class is bad.
No,
Good director,
First
though.
Class, thanks. Again, you
He's
are
But it's
fine.
not better than Days of
What
Future
did he
Past.
do that we fucking hate
Days of
him?
Future Past fucking fucks. Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's impossible to say Days of Future Past is not the best X-Men movie.
Ensemble.
Not Solo. Logan's the best of all of them. I hope we can agree on that.
Yes.
If you don't agree with that,
Well,
you
Alex
need
is
to-
Oh,
automatic.
Alex,
He
come
lives
on.
in fucking.
See, this is the shit.
Logan-
This is the shit I was implying.
I
This
would
is-
take,
he's
I
lying.
would
He's
take
lying.
First
He's
Class
telling
and X2 over Logan, yes.
Listen,
No, you
respectfully,
don't.
respectfully, I
Alex,
think
no.
we gotta respect everyone's opinion, but respectfully, that's ass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like
I
genuinely,
recently-
I
tell you, I
appreciate.
recently rewatched them. Now, my girlfriend Rachel hates Logan. Obviously wrong. I think Logan is very good, but it's really slow in the middle. It's really slow in the middle.
I can get on board for X2 though. X2, bro, there's so
Well,
much.
listen,
sauce
I gotta
in X2,
rewatch all of
it's
them.
insane.
So I'll let Alex's take linger. I have to rewatch all.
All right,
of them.
let's
There's no way.
let's get more difficult. X-Men 97, and we'll keep it in the movie realm. Or the Infinity War Endgame
You
arc.
were about to say that shit. I'm
97.
taking
Endgame.
Infinity War.
Infinity War Endgame. Infinity War Endgame.
Both
97.
of them is impossible to
I just-
say.
But you can't say both
I
because both
just-
is crazy.
Endgame brings it down though. If it's just Infinity
No,
War,
no.
it's a conversation.
No, no.
Endgame
No,
is
no,
a
no,
bad
time out,
movie
time out,
with
time out,
great
time out.
moment. I say this all the time.
Yo, Alex is
We're talking
talking
about
about
two
Endgame's
films.
not that
just
crazy.
Infinity
Those 2
War.
years-
It's just in.
Those 2 years, you're talking about those 2 films in particular.
Yeah.
That overall
Yeah.
was like, dude, that is better than the Incap.
But we're basing this off
Yeah,
of the
listen,
event of like
I
watching those in
Alex-
theaters.
Yeah,
experience-
exactly.
So
What
it's like
Alex
we
is
can't ever rate this like non-biased because like I remember going to theaters and like fucking.
That's what I'm
theaters.
saying.
I just-
I
I
was
just
at
mean-
the hospital. If you just said
7:30
one,
Bro, just-
showing at
like
4
Endgame
in
is,
the
I would take
afternoon.
X-Men 97
Just
over
the
Endgame, but not
just the
Infinity War.
I think just the sheer insanity of Infinity War being to get every single one of those actors in a fucking movie together and make it believable. They made a splash
And
page
it
cover
flows,
yes,
it's
for
cohesive.
an hour and a half. That's
It
that's
works.
probably
And
as
the Russo
best as
brothers
the
are
X-Men
better
Thanos
movies.
is
than
amazing.
Stanley
Thanos drops
Kubrick.
bars every 5 seconds. It's like amazing. It's great.
Bro, whether or not you like Endgame, it was a good conclusion to the Infinity Saga. Period.
Yeah, but you
Like,
watch
whether
the
or not
movie
you
the last
like it.
hour. You don't give a fuck about the first 2 hours. Where Tony Stark
Exactly.
invents
The
time travel.
last hour is a
Bullshit.
good conclusion to the entire decade's worth saga, and that alone is worth the X-Men 97.
But
Yeah,
if we're
no.
basing this
I gotta put the
strictly
clause
on
in.
like theater experience, then No Way Home is the best movie of all time.
No,
like, what
no,
are we
shut
doing
up,
here?
man.
Like,
It's
like,
a
the event of
No,
the
yeah,
2 years. Like
I'm
that's
with
what we're
Alex on
doing
this.
here?
I'm with Hawkeye. on this.
Okay,
You
yeah,
cannot
we were
com- you
getting.
cannot
We were,
compare the
no, but he said the
experiences.
2 movies together. It's like
because
split them up.
because
George is
Endgame and
forcing us to
Infinity
do it.
War are
Yeah, George
so
is literally putting them together,
Let's
which
all-
means
hey,
the event
fuck
of watching
George,
those two
man.
together is completely different.
Fuck
George.
I hate
George.
George.
I literally said
George.
X-Men
George.
97
George.
over Endgame is fine, but not over Infinity War though.
Avengers is good. Fuck George.
Avengers is good. That
Listen, I'm
tennis scene is cool.
I'm just an instigator, man.
He is
All right,
literally
let's-
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say.
Right now.
The reason it's a good debate is because Infinity War alone beats X-Men 97. Endgame alone,
Well,
I don't know
Alex-
if it does.
Well,
does.
Alex-
Shut up.
I think Alex
Oh.
is cooking though because bro, Alex
X-Men
and
97 beats them both.
No, you're fucking nuts, man.
Matt, Alex, I don't know if you two were both in the theater, but this dude actually has the theater experience of watching them.
Dude,
You
I
know
don't
what I
think
mean?
I don't think Hat Guy was old enough to see him in theaters.
No, I'm talking about X-Men 97. So he
Who's
actually does
younger
have
than
that
me?
experience.
What are we doing here, Cam? Just because you're 800 years old?
Oh yeah.
You've got 18 kids and you're running a foster home means that all of a sudden you can tell me about the old passages like I didn't see Iron Man 1 in theaters? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. You old ass motherfuckers. Sammy J's in here. He's getting fucking social security checks. I don't even know why I'm on here. What are
That's
we
it.
doing
That's it. I'm gonna say what I've been wanting to say a long time, bub.
How many times
Your
I
name
gotta
should
teach you
be
this lesson, old man?
Machine Gum Kelly.
Were we
Oh,
ranking
okay.
movies? Or were we ranking
Okay.
movies?
I
Or
got
were we collecting
big guns that I
401ks?
want.
What are we doing? Let's lock
What is
in.
going on?
Something I haven't heard. Oh my goodness.
Olsen is a handsome dude. You should take it as a compliment. Next topic.
Okay, all right.
This one probably a little easier, but
Infinity War.
I imagine Cam might want to bring up an argument. X-Men 97 or any season of like the Defenders universe. So Daredevil,
Daredevil,
Jessica
Daredevil
Jones,
season
Daredevil
3
Punisher.
solos. I'm
Season 2 is
sorry.
bad. Season 2
Guess
is
what?
not as good.
Guess what? Guess what?
You don't like Daredevil, huh?
Guess
X-Men
what?
97.
Do you
Guess
like
what?
anything, Hat Guy? What's the
Guess
fucking
what?
point?
Seasons 1 and 3 of Daredevil are better than X-Men 97.
There we go. There we go. We do it. We do it.
God.
No, we're
No,
not.
no,
We're
no,
season
no.
2 of Daredevil.
And
'cause
And
the
season one of
storylines
Punisher.
suck.
And season one of Punisher.
Not season
No,
1 of
Punisher.
Punisher.
Not season one of
Punisher.
No, not
I
Punisher.
can't do.
not
I can't
Punisher.
do that one. I can't do that
Punisher,
one.
Punisher
I'm with John
stinks.
Bernthal
John
going,
Bernthal's
bro.
great.
Yo, are
Punisher
we repping Iron Fist?
stinks. Shut up. This
I
guy
will
all-
concede. I will concede. Daredevil.
No.
Daredevil has.
Daredevil 1 and
season
3
3,
are
I
like
beat
truly
you
peak
clears
Marvel
anything in
television.
X-Men. I'm sorry.
Oh
I
man,
think I'm
I'm
glad
about
we
to, I ain't gonna lie.
don't remind me of that.
All right,
What-
let's
I'm about to hit the I beat you as loud as I can right now.
let's bring us home. X-Men or Invincible season 1.
Yeah, so
No.
season 2, I'll admit, I don't
take
think
Invincible
No.
season 1. I'm sorry.
even though
I do.
Invincible's, I think I'd like to
I'm
see
taking
where
X-Men.
we're split on this because I'm with Hat Guy. Invincible season 1, I think, is better.
Here's my thing. Let me say this and then I'll never talk again. Okay. Season 1 of Invincible. Okay. I think animation X-Men 97 obviously has it beat. And then I think Invincible season 1 beats X-Men 97 in every other major category.
I
There
agree.
you go.
Because while we say X-Men 97 nails it in its characterization of these characters with 15 different characters and like caring about them all, it nails it. But it also still has to do that with 15 characters. So you're not going to get as much as you do for a Mark Amber or Omni-Man or like his mom and all of that. Like you have less characters. So you have the added benefit of caring about the characters you need to more. And also I'll say it. Every single moment in X-Men 97 is not to par of I'll still have you, Dad. That is one of the best scenes in animation.
Let me tell you what
will you
X-Men,
have in
X-Men 97
500
handles
years?
the side characters and all their arcs way better than Invincible season 1 does. Invincible season 1 does not give enough shine to
Doesn't
like
need to.
Rex
It
or
doesn't
everyone else.
have
Like,
any
it does not
side
handle the side
characters.
characters
It
way
doesn't
as good as
need to.
X-Men does.
It's got
I-
a better villain. Omni-Man's a better villain.
Omni-Man's clear, I'll give you that. But like as far as side characters and handling everyone's arc, and like not just Mark and Invincible and
I just think the
it's way better
excessive.
in X-Men.
You
I
care
think the
about more
accessibility-
characters in X-Men 97 than
Yeah.
you do about
If
Invincible.
I take X-Men 97, and it's impossible, I think, to compare the two seasons because they're so different in animation, in narrative, in character work. The reason I take X-Men 97, my number one character between both shows is Mark. after that, I don't think you would see another Invincible character for like 10 to 15 spots.
You wouldn't say Omni-Man?
I don't.
I think Omni-Man would
Yes,
be-
in
You
season
wouldn't
one.
say Omni-Man?
In season
I
one,
don't-
I think
it's
he's
not-
worse in season 2. What is
Fuck
this?
you.
What is
I care. I think X-Men did such a better job at making me care about
So-
every single one of their side characters. Besides Mark and Omni-Man, I really don't really care about a lot of them.
You could argue the world building in X-Men is better too.
I just think X-Men, first of all, obviously we have like the, if you want to call it nostalgia factor of the X-Men characters, like they obviously have a rich history that we all love, but I just think it's more accessible. Like, bro, I know people who just can't get into Invincible because it's not accessible to them. They're like, this doesn't really relate to me. Whereas the X-Men, you have someone you can relate to.
It doesn't relate to
for
a
everyone.
sailor who's going through this shit.
Also, like,
I mean, obviously, but what I'm saying is there's a vast majority of characters in X-Men that I think everyone can be relatable to. You know, like obviously you have like, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, you know, that the whole trope right there, LGBT community, like everyone can get into X-Men. Like, whereas Invincible, there's a little bit of that in there, but it's not really built upon like it is with the X-Men. And that's really the overarching narrative of X-Men. It's like the whole being accepted and like the trials and tribulation that come with that. Whereas Invincible is really just a coming of age story at the end of the day. When you think
and
about
if it's not,
Look,
if it's
my-
not Mark and
it's
Omni-Man,
just-
you really don't give a shit.
I will say this. I think Invincible will age better as it continues to progress with its seasons.
I think that's a good take.
Whereas like X-Men 97, if we're just comparing season 1 to season 1, X-Men 97 is the better show.
I think
But
so.
overall, I think
There you go.
Invincible will age better when you watch fucking season 10.
Yeah,
and
we're
we're
only
back to
scratching the
season 1.
surface.
think you're right.
Like, I heard we're only scratching the surface of what Invincible has to offer. Everyone that I know that read the comics said that it gets better as he.
Here's what I'll say.
It's
Here's what
black
I'll
suit.
say. This is my measurement on good season, better or not. Ready? Invincible made me read the comics. I've read the comics of Invincible now.
That's
I don't
true.
know if we're there yet on X-Men 97.
Well,
That's a
there's just so
stupid
much.
basis.
That's
Well,
crazy.
well,
That's crazy to me. 'Cause hold on. That's
No,
crazy to me. 'Cause
I'm with George exactly here. Yeah.
if there's one thing I think X-Men does better, it's dissect its lore and stay true to its comic book and character work. That
And
is one
adapt.
thing I think X-Men
that's
does
not what I
better
was
than
gonna say.
Invincible.
Oh, he's
That's not what I was going to say.
Yeah, you
I
fucking
thought
idiot.
George was going to say, well, Invincible as a show, it's one book. It's an omnibus. X-Men is pulling from Uncanny.
That's
It's
fair.
pulling
That's
from
fair. And
everything.
It's
understandable.
pulling from all these
Understandable.
different, like, you can't just like pick up an X-Men book after X-Men 97 and know what's going to happen next the way that you can with Invincible.
yeah, they're
That's
kind of
even though,
adapting
Cam,
one of
you
one.
and I are on the same boat here. I think Invincible is the best superhero show ever. That or Batman the Animated Series. Like I
I
don't
think
like.
Invincible. Here's what I struggle with.
Over
I
Batman?
struggle with ranking TV shows because I hate when they have multiple seasons and like
beg your
season
pardon?
1's the best and season 2 sucks. And because I think X-Men 97 right now is better than Invincible right now because of season 2.
Cam, you said.
Hey,
Invincible
real
over
quick, I need to
Batman
get this off my
series?
chest, bro.
Can you
Fuck
repeat
that
that?
break and fuck those ads. My bad, Alex.
Yo, wait, did you say
Fuck that
Invincible over
shit!
Batman?
So stupid.
You said Invincible over Batman?
No. I'll take Batman over Invincible. I forgot about Batman. Batman the
All
Animated
right, I was
Series.
just
The
like,
animated series is
I had to
mid.
process that for a second. I
No.
thought someone said.
I'll say one thing, and I don't know if it's gonna get a reaction that I want out of you guys. Every single superhero season of television that we've mentioned, I don't think I would rank any of them, including Invincible season 1 or X-Men 97, above HBO's season of Watchmen.
I haven't seen
Watchmen's
it.
great.
Even
I
watch.
don't know.
To be
Watchmen's
honest,
great.
I think
Punk,
I
that's
think I
that's
would
my
take
number
both.
one.
I think I would take both of
You
these.
got-
over
I haven't
Watchmen. I don't
seen
care
it.
about the Watchmen
I
characters.
haven't seen it. I've read the book. I think a lot of people have read that book, but
Yeah.
the Zack Snyder movie kind of just traumatized me, so I don't want to touch
So
that
good.
property.
It's
A
so
lot of
good.
it, I actually like
Oh.
the Watchmen movie and the show a lot. I don't care for the characters as much. Like I
But
get
what
it,
if you read the book?
kind of Zack
Yeah.
Snyder's fault, though.
but reading's hard,
Watchmen is
man.
the best graphic novel ever.
I mean, that's fair. I
That's
I
what
don't
say.
think. I'm not
The
going
book
to say
is
you're
really
wrong
good.
from a quality standpoint because that television show, just given that it has an HBO budget, and was given that like it has that background of being an HBO show where it's got the production and everything. It's one of the best put together superhero shows. But I think I would take X-Men and Invincible and Daredevil over it.
Okay, so George, Cam, I want your perspective on it because you guys have seen this show. I have a good friend of mine who is like my comic buddy. Like we didn't grow up together, but like I know he grew up reading the same comics as me, and he hated the Watchmen show. He didn't say it was like bad or anything, but he just
And I
did
didn't.
not like it, and that's why I haven't watched it. Do you?
No,
think,
it's
George,
really good television.
George, it seems like you really, really like the book. Is there something that they do egregious that you think is enough to piss me off? Because you do have a Man of Steel picture sitting right behind you, and I happen to have the DVD that I pissed on. Like you know, like if you do a character, in my opinion, in Injustice, I'm gonna hate your property no matter how well done it is, and if it's got a Hans Zimmer score or not.
Did I miss some plot? Did I miss
love
Escape Pod podcast lore? My bad. You pissed on that?
Yeah.
Is that a well-known thing?
On pod?
We fought over that. We fought over that.
Yeah.
I swear to God, we
It's
fought over
the
that.
worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
That's
It's
crazy.
a good adaptation, though. Why
Have
do want
you
it to be
not
Wonder
watched
Woman?
like Transformers: Dark of the Moon or something? Like,
We gotta stop. We gotta
What
stop.
just happened?
judging.
What just happened? I heard my movie get mentioned. Who said something? What did we say?
no, Haggai, listen, I
Find out.
love Watchmen, both the graphic novel and the Zack Snyder movie. My thing is, I don't find myself caring about the Watchmen universe and characters as much as I do with DC, so I don't particularly like mind if they're not done justice. I think for me, I look at like the Watchmen television show and I'm just like, this is good television. Like, this isn't good comic book television. This is just good television in general. But if you like, there are just the same reason why a lot of people hate Snyder's movie. It's because it's such like, it kind of takes a shit on the graphic novel. But for me, who doesn't necessarily like care about comic accuracy in a universe I'm not like so invested in the way I am in like, you know, Gotham City and Metropolis, I don't mind that. So at the end of the day, like, these are good projects, not just good comic book.
Yeah,
projects.
Watchmen's a very good show. I have not read, but I also just don't really care about these characters, so it's not going to piss me off if it's done improperly. And I didn't care enough to like dive super deep into it to see if they did do them improperly. But it's a very good show. I think I recommend you at least give it a chance.
But none of these shows have.
All right. Here we go.
That intro's kind of fire, though. That
What?
Peacemaker intro's kind of fire, though.
That's what I was going to ask. Peacemaker intro.
X-Men. X-Men. I love how there's a character title for every single character. Easily X-Men. Easily.
I think it's X-Men. It's close.
Easily.
I do really love Peacemaker.
X-Men title. Game of Thrones title.
Game of Thrones.
It's
It's
gotta be
Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's gotta be Game
I
of
think
Thrones.
I just made a video about best theme songs. Like, it's up there. Like, Succession is up there for sure for like best themes. True Detective season 1. Like, there's a lot of great themes that but Game of Thrones is probably like goat.
Yeah,
All right.
Game of Thrones got to be the goat.
Is Game of Thrones Sunday?
I hate to do this, but it is coming up on like 11:30 for us East Coasters, and we've been talking for close to 3 hours.
Yapping for 3 hours.
Yeah, we've been yapping for 3 hours. This has been fantastic. Supes, Alex, and Sammy, we appreciate you guys like crazy for coming on. It is Tuesday, I believe. When this episode is dropping. For the ReelTok podcast listeners, tomorrow we are dropping a Q&A. I believe Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday will be our Q&A. Thursday is our ReelTok Patreon exclusive review of Mulholland Drive. And Friday, we are dropping a draft of our favorite action scenes in movies. Spoiler, no one picked anything from Transformers Dark of the Moon. We will wrap up there. Again, gentlemen, Cam, love you. Go.
Yeah. Just real quick, Supes and Alex Haggai, thank you so much for being here. Alex, Coleman, Sammy, you guys have been here before, and we talk quite often. So thank you both. Oh, shit.
Let's
do that.
I need to go. Every time I'm on this pod recently, I think I've gone 3 or 3 with Supes. Like every single time.
That's awesome.
It's me and Matt. We've every single time. It's Optimus and Bumblebee.
Can I please come on here so I can give you guys the sermon of Spider-Man 2 being the greatest comic book motion picture of all time?
Say his words.
No, but seriously, if you are not a follower or a subscriber of the Escape Pod podcast, please go subscribe to them. If you are new to this podcast because you are coming from Escape Pod, first off, thank you for coming. Check out ReelTok. But Alex and Supes, anytime you guys want to come on and just yap superhero stuff, I love this shit. And I'm bummed that we don't talk it more on ReelTok, but I love talking other stuff as well. Alex and Sammy, you guys need God really. That's about it.
Honestly,
All
you
right.
know, hop on
George always
Twitter,
plays.
Cam would.
my @ is Soggy Splatoon. Hit me up.
All right. That will wrap up episode 89, and we will see everyone tomorrow.